watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime! Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome out to E-Town. This is round 4 of the Formula Drift Championship. We deem this the Type S Gauntlet, first ever purpose-built drift Coliseum here in the Northeast. What a beautiful day here in New Jersey. The Garden State is about to be the Smoky State because this is round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. You can see as we make our way over what I call the Crazy 8, the figure 8 track, 3 outside zones, 1 inside clip, all contributing to the Type S, the Gauntlet, presented by AutoZone. Here tonight and this evening will be the official halfway point through our 8-stop championship. We've made our way from Long Beach on to Atlanta, Orlando. Here we are in Jersey. In just less than a month, we'll be in St. Louis. Bobbing and weaving our way through the Formula Drift Championship. I'm Jared Deenda. Join me up here in the booth is Robbie Bushido Blade Nishida. Robbie Nishida, a former competitor, also contributes to the Formula Drift Japan series, both as a judge and commentator as well. And, you know, with the lockdown, obviously, we did not see a lot of Robbie Nishida, so it's great to get Robbie back on American soil. Robbie, E-Town, what do you think? How did it go last night? Congratulations. Cole Richards, his second ever event in Pro Spec, gets the win. Dimitri Brutsky and Andy Haitley rounds out that podium. If that's a testimonial to what we're going to see today, what do you expect here?
Yeah, it seems like it because the last time I was here was last year, which was the first time I got back in like 3 years or so. And we did have a mix of different people on the podium. So I'm expecting that. Maybe the old school guys that are always on the podium might be on the podium. But this figure 8, like you said, this track layout, this kind of gives and opens up to everybody. Everybody has a chance because it's not about just power. It's about perfect car control to be on the outside line. And the 2 switchbacks is critical for these drivers. So I'm expecting anything to happen this week, this evening.
Yeah, it's very unassuming. You know, it's flat, no banks. You get 3 outer zones, 1 inside clip. We'll get to that. But New Jersey, a very educated fan base. You know, they have events here called The Gambler. E-Town has played host to numerous different events. Even yesteryear, you know, we had the road course. We utilized the road course. Tomorrow, there's the Pro Down, Bro Down. Pro Car is going to be out there shredding with some amateurs and just some overall drift shredders. The Club Loose Boys, they're in the building. And again, just let's talk about Chris Forsberg, Von Gittin Jr., Ryan Turk, Tony Angelo. Saw Tony Angelo yesterday. He was in the building. Those are the drivers that cut their teeth here back in 2003, 2002. They were drifting here at E-Town. So some great history here in the Northeast and specifically E-Town. So thank you to the Knapp family for building the first ever purpose-built North American Drift Coliseum. That gray section right in the middle, that was a drag strip. They closed down the drag strip and built and expanded on this, kept obviously the bleachers, and they're going to be packed here going into this evening. Right here in the middle of this schedule, you can see E-Town. We've already had our previous winners. Matt Field in Long Beach, Von Gittin Jr., who's only doing a split season, and Chelsea Denofa, the RTR vehicles. So let's take a look back. Long Beach is where it all kicks off. The birthplace of Formula Drift as an organization. That's where their home offices were, obviously Atlanta in 04. But Long Beach, what did you think? And Matt Field came out top. You know, I mean, obviously he wants the championship.
Yeah, this was the first round that I was able to be an official judge back in the States after a couple years. it was exciting, and also, you know, surrounded by all the walls, it's very hard. James Dean was back, and it's exciting to see the international drivers coming back because of the, you know, borders opening up and everything kind of calming down after the COVID. But at the same time, looking at the level of the driving is extremely different from how I see things in Japan, because I haven't, you know, been back to an FD event for a while. And there you go, Matt Field takes the win, and you know, the season opener is always exciting to see, and this one sure was really exciting.
It delivered, yeah. And then of course, talking about 20 years of Formula Drift since 2004. Look at that. Vaughn Gittin Jr., the RTR boss. Again, split season. There are 3 Ford Mustangs. James Dean, Chelsea Denofa, all 8 rounds. But Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Adam LZ, they're sharing the same ride. Vaughn Gittin Jr. took it to the top in a historic, sentimental fashion. In 2004, we saw Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Chris Forsberg on the podium. Chris got the win. But here in 2023, Vaughn Gittin Jr. comes back and the boss takes it in Atlanta. 20 years of FD.
You know, not being in a chassis and not competing in FD for a couple years and sitting out is really, really hard. And just coming back and just winning, that's really impressive.
Yeah, and speaking of the RTR camp, Chelsea Denofa, you know, Orlando Speed World, I was saying, like, he has so many times on the track. He doesn't. He actually doesn't. He's like, I don't really care for OSW, but obviously it suited him there in Orlando, our previous round.
Yeah, so the battles that we had at Orlando, I mean, they were intense. There was a lot of contact in the inside. But the guys that came out to win was the guys that, you know, actually had their pedal to the metal and made sure that their cars were sideways all the time. It's really impressive. You know how Chelsea always drives. It's very exciting to see. And he's always on the verge of making a mistake or taking it, but this time it looked like it worked out for him too.
Yep, and there it is, Chelsea Denofa. He now lives back in Florida. He's been bouncing around the country from, you know, originally from Philly, Orlando, back over to the PNW with his wife, and now back in Florida. So thank you to our judges. I believe that's Chris Yule is rocking the Adidas. And, oh, look, our high-vis homie is back. You can't miss this cat. He is back. And him and his lady got the heart glasses. It's like she's got emoji eyes. You know, she's got the heart eyes. So look. He's like, stand up, get up, come on, show him what you're working with. Let's go. All right. So let's talk about what we saw in qualifying. This is all the way back to Thursday. Keep in mind that it's a 3-day event because Thursday we have qualifying for both Pro and Pro Spec. Yesterday, last night, under the lights, again, saw 19 years old Cole Richards, second ever Formula Drift event. You know, he's only been drifting for 3 years. Taka Ayano, Drift School USA, he puts him under his wing. You got Ron Eworth. You got all these talented, historic people that are helping out Cole Richards, and that contributed to his first ever victory. But pro qualifying, our number 1 qualifier, a 94, Frederick Osbo, gets that number 1 spot. He's 3 points. Richard, did you expect this? I mean, again, Osbo just seems to be firing all cylinders. He's 3-time. He joins the alumni of James Dean, Chris Forsberg, and now Osbo. And again, back-to-back. But he just bested Ryan Turk with a 92. Your thoughts on qualifying?
Yeah, so I didn't expect, you know, so much from the drivers because the weather condition, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen, and also the track condition, it looked like it was getting grippier, so a lot of the guys were missing outside zone 1, but these 2 drivers kind of nailed it, and in my eyes, Frederick Osbo's run was nearly perfect. There's a couple of things, and right here, Dylan also coming out, he did dip a tire, but everything else looked like pretty much perfect. So the top 3 drivers here were very impressive, and they did the textbook, you know, run the outside line, made sure that they had a lot of angle and always on throttle, and that's what you'll be seeing today with Tandem.
Yeah, so really excited again to get qualifying out of the way. Like I said, Pro Spec was really exciting going into the finals, and overall it went really smoothly. Hopefully we get that kind of smoothness today. You know, not a lot of calamity. Did see somebody go hard on the wall earlier, but Robbie and I are up here in the booth. Again, our judges, Chris Yule. Robbie, you are doing double duty. You're judging as well, and Brian Eggert. Ryan Lantaine is chief steward. He's stepping out this round of competition. But another member of our broadcast team, I saw her, didn't get a chance to give her a hug, but she's always given some great love down in the pits. So speaking of her, Lorette Nickel.
Jared, thank you so much, and so sorry I haven't had an opportunity to see you yet, but this guy right here qualified second, and going into this, it's starting to rain. So how does that change what you have to do on track?
Oh, everything. We haven't had any wet laps yet, so right now everything changes. Probably throw a slightly different setup on the car, nothing crazy. We have quite a bit of battles to go. We'll see what the rain does. We know it's going to be these small bands kind of breaking up and coming through, so it might be patchy by the time we get out there. So we're just weigh those options by the maybe 5 minutes leading up to our round.
Right. Is that the worst option for you? It's either wet, dry, or patchy. Is patchy the worst?
Patchy is 100% the worst option. You either want full wet, full dry, or nothing else. So it'll be an interesting day. Hopefully this maybe is it, this little scattered shower, and we'll be good the rest of the night, hopefully.
Well, speaking of being good, you were towed in during practice. You were having an electrical issue. Is that fixed?
Yeah, we had a small electrical issue that took us out for about 10 minutes. The boys basically just kept put on their toes, keep their head in the game, which they did, and got us back out there for another 2 laps before we finished practice. So we're ready to rock.
Okay, that's awesome, and so glad to see Ryan and most of his family out here supporting the man from the Granite State. Ryan, thank you, guys.
All right, both New Hampshires right there. So again, yeah, excited to meet Roman, his son. I still haven't met him. He's just a year old. His lovely wife, Shannon, so Shanny Pants, as he lovingly calls her. And we are getting ready for our Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. Let's take a look at the bracket 32. So we kick things off. Frederick Osbo, Ken Gucci, both Toyota teammates. And that's kind of a win-lose situation for Toyota. Toyota debuting the all-new 3 different models, 45th anniversary Toyota Supra, the Toyota GR Corolla Circuit Edition, and the Trueno Edition. I don't know if you saw that thing as well. It's pretty sweet. So again, the black and white got that Panda livery. But so taking a look at the bracket, speaking of Toyota, Ryan Turk qualifying second. He's going against Mohan. Dylan Hughes third, going against Trenton Beecham. Matt Field, who is currently sitting third in points, is going against Robert Thorne. And also notably Chelsea Denofa, who's sitting second in points. Denofa will be going against, where are we at? Where's Denofa? Denofa's going against Daniel Stuckey because Denofa was forced to go into the second run, so he qualified 27th. He's going against Dan Stuckey. All right, so there's our top 32 bracket. That's how things are shaping up. And hopefully you purchase your Lean Customs pins like this fan. Man, it's, got some sweet ones there. You got like little Turk things. You got some Castro fans. Jonathan Castro cheering him on. The DR, Dominican's finest, flying that DR flag. It's a little muggy here today. You know.
Oh yeah, it's humid. But,
yeah,
coming from Japan, I'm used to it.
Yeah, this does feel like a Japan summer day, right?
Yep.
So yeah, you're totally right. But stepping out of the hotel every morning, you don't know what you're going to get. First day, it was wet. You saw rain. Then it kind of dried out yesterday, and then today, it's muggy. It's very muggy.
And earlier, Turk kind of touched base with the weather too, so I really don't want to say the word, but looking at the weather,
don't you say it. Don't you say the R word.
Yep.
Yeah, so and what's that?
Looks like it's coming down now.
Yeah, I've seen some people with ponchos. I don't know if they're cutting weight, if they're got a wrestling match or something. But thank you to our judges, Ryan Lontaine, Brian Eggert, Chris Yule, striping the track, getting it prepped. Here's where our driver championship point standings at 196. Obviously, you see Freddie up front, Denofa, Field, James Dean, and Chris Forsberg, our top 5 drivers. Rounding out the top 10, you got Dylan Hughes, Jonathan Hurst, that Mr. Cool BMW. Look at him, top 7. And then Odie Bakshis, RCP, Rome Charpentier, and Ryan Turk. Forrest Wang, who was a no-show here in New Jersey. Kazuya Taguchi sitting 12th. Obviously, I talked about Vaughn Gittin Jr. He is not here as he's doing a split season. Simon Olsen, who's in that new vehicle, another driver that's not here. Christoph Bluch, he is not with us here in New Jersey. Reader, Darren Kelly, another driver. Again, unfortunately, not here this weekend. So we have 32 drivers that weren't qualifying, and this is, again, all the current standings as far as points. Mike Power, who's from here on the East Coast. Sorensen, Thorne. Yeah, Diego Higa, absolutely a star from Brazil. Adam LZ, looking like he's really getting that Ford Mustang dialed. Alex Holovnia from Ukraine. Ula Yeager. Ryan Littrell looks like his car is up to snuff. So a lot of drivers looking to make some noise here in New Jersey.
Yeah, this might be one of the important rounds because it is the halfway point of the series. So obviously want to be on top and as high as possible in the championship race. So everybody's... It's going to be fierce.
Is it sprinkling out there? I see people with ponchos on. Is it sprinkling? Yeah, so, got some ponchos out. Little bit of sprinkling. I like to call it aggressive talking. When you talk to somebody and they're just talking to you really aggressively, that's what it feels like. So you got tank tops and flip-flops. You got ponchos. But guess what? Up next, you got Top 32, the Rockstar Energy Drink. Top 32, and first on deck, that is Frederick Osbo and Ken Gucci. Don't go anywhere. 20 years of FD. This is Type S, the Gauntlet, presented by AutoZone.
This is Torque Motorsport.
Driving too fast, I don't wanna wait. We driving the days, we stepping in late. Nothing but blind and real the tape. Let's be alive, but we gonna skate. Let's be alive, but we gonna
Holy
skate. You wanted to ride, you wanted to ride.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
For 30 Formula Drift teams, our professional Tire Stacks crew will mount over 1,000 tires during a weekend to keep our drivers on track, competing at the highest level. TireStacks.com, the official tire service of Formula Drift.
You won't believe what a K&N intake will do for your truck. I thought a cold air intake would just make my truck sound better, but I installed a K&N intake. Now I can feel the power as soon as I hit the gas. It was such a simple upgrade, but it has totally transformed my truck. And now, I'll never own a truck without a K&N intake. You've got to experience it for yourself. Get one for your truck at knfilters.com.
Welcome back. You can see the wind is blowing, also a little bit of drizzle. That's why Snoop Dogg always carries an umbrella, for drizzle. As now, so just a clarification, these guys have had dry practice up until this point, and of course when we go into top 32, just a significant raindrops are coming down. The judges came in after striping the course and making sure that you could see those outside zones. They said, yeah, they're pretty significant raindrops. So that changes the dynamics of what they did earlier. So we call these sight laps. We give them a little quick turn and burn of the course. Also, I love the introduction of the twin burnout boxes as well. Let's take a look at the Torque Drift course preview. Torque Drift, the official drifting game of Formula Drift. Robbie?
Here you go. So on the left, as you see, for the first car, there's outside zone 1. The turning radius is a little bit different, so it's hard. Some guys dip tires, so you want to make sure that you fill the zone all the way. Then you do a transition going to the outside zone 2. Now the outside zone 2 is very, very long, so a lot of guys will be left with braking through there. And going into the inside clips, we did move the outside zone 2 a little longer and the inside clip a little bit more to the inside of the track. So it's a little bit different here. But after the transition, going to the outside zone 3, there's a finish line. But the main thing in this track, you have to make sure that the car goes from one angle to the other. Nice and snappy transition going from the outside zone 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And you have to make sure that the car is staying on the outside line on the edge and not wavering.
Also, keep in mind there are natural decel areas, and we'll get into that as it kind of shows its ugly head.
The
right?
decels are usually before the zones here, so right before outside zone 2, right before outside zone 1, and right before outside zone 3.
Because you have that natural decel of transition, getting kind of ideally more traction. In this instance, the car is going to sail a little bit more, a little slicker right now, and also the outside zone 2, you're going to see it sailing as well. Here we go, our first battle. Round 32, top 32. Frederick Osbo, our #1 qualifier, going against Ken Gushi, who qualified 32nd. Both these Toyota pilots. Frederick Osbo, your defending back-to-back champion, also 3-time champion as well. Frederick Osbo, Ken Gushi now looking in that outside zone number 2. Let's see this transition. Good proximity from Ken Gushi. Transition now in the outside zone 3. Ken Gushi has to back off. He then does surge forward as Frederick Osbo fills all of it. You see Ken Gushi kind of got that power on deck, but ideally just get into that pocket and stay and maintain. Didn't want to see him surge forward. Let's break it down.
So as you saw, both the vehicles, I think the track is probably patchy right now, so this is probably the most hardest conditions to drive in, where it's not fully wet or fully dry. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. So right here, initiation, you see tire smoke. In some areas, you see the wheels spinning, but there's no tire smoke. But it looked like in the lead position, Frederick Osbo was doing a good job taking the car all the way to the outside zones. And Ken Gushi was keeping the pressure on most of the time, but he wasn't chasing Frederick Osbo in the same line, so he did have to shallow up on some of the lines right here. As you can see, we would like to see both of the vehicles, the lead and the chase, go into the outside zones on all areas. I wouldn't say he was cheating the line, but to keep the proximity, he was out of the outside zones, a lot out of all the zones. So we're going to have to see after they switch places and see if Frederick Osbo could do a better chase than Ken Gushi did in his chase position, and see how Ken Gushi does in his lead.
Interesting, on the Outer Zone podcast, the official Formula Drift podcast, Jacob had Chris Forsberg on, and he had an interesting stance. Chris says, let's stay here. Like, the cars are just getting gnarlier and faster. Chris had kind of an interesting take. He says, I welcome the rain because it kind of equalizes the driving. What's your take on that?
Oh, I kind of do agree, because when it gets just too crazier, then I wouldn't want to say the talent isn't there all the time, but when the cars are crazy, and the driver's going to have a harder time keeping them sideways.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Ken Gushi out front now. Frederick Osbo in the chase position. Again, a little bit of moisture on track, slowing things down, minimizing that smoke, and then, boom, create some steam on Freddie. Look at that. Freddie gets out of shape. That is a huge blow and shock to the system. Holy cow, Frederick Osbo. I mean, this is absolutely massive. That could be deemed an incomplete for Frederick Osbo. You saw him make contact, he straightened out, and also, we haven't talked about it, you talked about the dry and the wet patches, but when it's wet also, you go from that black asphalt to the concrete of the drag strip. Yeah, that's a surface change, as well as you see the cars getting disrupted. The attitude of the cars is bouncy.
Yeah, so maybe even more than double, it's triple harder maybe here, because going from the asphalt to the concrete to the asphalt again. And right here, as we saw, it was pretty obvious where Ken Gushi wasn't all the way on the outside line, but as a chase car, you're supposed to be mimicking the lead car, and what happened there was looked like Frederick Osbo kind of got a little too close, and we would have to double check to make sure that there wasn't nothing going on in Ken Gushi's position as a lead vehicle, that he wasn't slowing down or he wasn't making any huge corrections. And that's just a clean hit by Frederick Osbo. Yeah, like you said, it might be an incomplete, but I don't have to go ahead and check this out.
Yeah, Robbie, I'll let you deduce that with your fellow judges. Again, we have 4 judges through the entirety of the season. So we have Chris Yule, Robin Ishida, Brian Egger, and Ryan Lontaine. And we have one judge help Sean Adriano as a driver steward, so negotiating any instances where the drivers will come up and converse with the judges and maybe have, obviously it could be, kind of a putting in for, what's the word? I'm totally escaping right now. Protest. Thank you.
Yeah, and the weather is playing a huge part in some of these competitions, and like this case, it might have been. Here you go. These are the decel zones, but the decel zones right before the initiation on the left side of the outside zone 1, you have to make sure that the cars are positioning themselves and also not slowing down too much. And as you saw right before all the outside zones, the decel zones are there, and it's not a start from one area to another. It's a vague area.
This is huge. This is huge right here. Frederick Osbo, Ken Gushi, and look at this. Ken Gushi takes down our defending champion and our current points leader in the 32. This is huge.
Yes, it is, because like I said, we're at the middle of the competition, and Frederick Osbo goes out at top 32.
The championship.
Yeah, and Ken Gushi gets a win, but right here, the weather just made a big part in it because if it was dry, maybe it could have been different. If it was fully wet, it could have been different.
Wow, that is a huge shock to the system. The Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota GR Supra, again, defending champion, 3-time champion, current points leader, #1 qualifier, Frederick Osbo, knocked out in 32. Ken Gushi moves on. With more on what's going down in the pits, again, we'll have some sight laps for our next battle, Odi Bakshis and Diego Higa. So let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who's down in the pits. Lorette.
Joao is down here, highest qualifying so far this season in 14th, and unfortunately you have a broken steering rack. So are you and the team going to be able to fix this in time?
Yeah, I think that we have enough time for that. Like after struggling so many shoes in first 3 rounds, now we are ready for.
And what were you struggling with in the earlier rounds?
Most part was related to power steering. So even like in Atlanta, I tried to do my laps without any kind of power steering. But now the car is really working well. We are ready.
Joao, thank you so much. Best of luck.
Continuous side laps, correct? Thank you so much, Lorette. Some great insight there. Joao Berrion. Again, so bears repeating. If you're just tuning in, Frederick Osbo, our first battle out of the gate, our points leader, knocked out at 32. Robbie, again, elaboration on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, it's patchy condition right now on the surface on the track, and maybe Osbo ran over something that was grippier than he was expecting, and the car lunged a little forward, got into the front left tire of Kengushi, and that was it.
And is this a sight lap or is this battle? This is a battle. All right, going right into it. This is, again, Odi Bakshis, Diego Higa. Sorry, thrown off. Thought we were going with the side laps continuously, but no, not the case. Look at Diego Higa. We're talking about him showing up. Again, a Brazilian champion. Ryan Lantain has seen him with his own eyes in the native country of Brazil and seen how he can drive, but he's going against one of the best. That is Odi Bakshis now transitioning out of that. Again, you want to power through that finish line. We saw a couple drivers loop it, not have control of their vehicle, and not get a judged run. You need to have that control all the way through the finish line.
Yeah, you have to make sure that the car is in control even after the finish line. And right here, Odi Bakshis is leading, and he is pretty much filling both the outside zone 1 and 2, and Higa getting into formation mid outside zone 2, getting where he was supposed to be at, but he does cut the line a little short going into outside zone 3 just to keep the proximity tight with Odi Bakshis. But obviously a veteran driver, Odi does a great job in the lead position. Now we're going to have to see how much he's going to chase down Higa and see how well Higa could put down a solid lead run.
All right, so Diego Higa, again, from Brazil. This is a vehicle that has seen Formula Drift competition before. This is Ryan Turk's old FRS. And Diego Higa, again, with the, I believe it's 2J under the hood, and the supercharged LS under the hood of S chassis. Odi Bakshis, field suspension. Here we go. Diego Higa initiates into that first outside zone. Good transition for both the drivers. Look at that. Odi Bakshis in that chase position. He has some wobbling here. So the rain wreaking havoc on some of our veterans, but then Odi Bakshis jumps right to the side of Diego Higa's ride into that final outside zone. Look at that. Odi Bakshis banging on the doors, grinding that GT radial on the side of that 86. Wow. So yeah, I heard you, ooh, right there. And again, that second outside zone when you initiate.
Yeah, so right here, Higa does a good job as well, but it looks like Odi is a little bit closer, but he does kind of mess up on the transition, but gets right into formation after the mid part of the outside zone 2, and it seems like he is a little bit more closer in proximity than Higa was, and also fills the outside zone 3. Look at right there from the drone footage, how close these cars got, and I would have to say the lead might be even, and we're going to have to actually pick hair in the chase position because both the drivers did make their own mistakes here and there in the chase position. Right here, how close they are, and I think Odi is pretty much trying to show dominance right here in the chase position, and this is something what we want to see, and it looks like Higa was a little bit more far apart.
All right, so 2 runs have been completed by Diego Higa and Odi Bakshis. I know Rutledge Wood, he's watching at home. Hot Wheels Dream Garage host, and again, a Toyota partner. He's like, holy cow, Gushi and Osbo going out. He's baffled there. Hopefully, Rutledge, your back is feeling better. Again, join the conversation on the live stream. And here we go, slide him left for Odi Bakshis, right for Diego Higa. Odi gets 1 vote, and one more time, and one more time. They're going at it again.
Yeah, so I think one of the judges gave it to Odie for the dominance, but I did see the mistake that he made going into the outside zone 2, where he was really shallow on the line. Then he did get back into formation, but that was one bigger mistake than what Higa did. Higa made a few smaller mistakes, so we kind of evened that out and made that a one more time.
Okay, so again, majority rules 2-1, with one of the drivers siding with Odie Bakshish, the other two saying one more time. Next up, we are seeing as they take their sight laps, Kazuya Taguchi and Dean Carnage Carney. Kazuya Taguchi getting the win in St. Louis last year, made a lot of noise and a lot of momentum and confidence in his corner of the Up Garage ISR Performance vehicle, Toyota 86. And Dean Carnage Carney, coming to us from Ireland, campaigning is hypernft.io Dodge Viper.
Yeah, Taguchi's he's also coming off of a podium from Orlando. He was third, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Dean Kearney, his car is probably one of the fastest cars and gripped up cars out there, but the key to victory here, we have to make sure that the cars are doing quick and accurate initiations and transitions and fill all the zones. Like you said, we have outside zone 1, 2, and 3. Outside zone 2 is very long, so it's going to be really hard to fill. And they have to make sure they are quick and smooth at the transitions, and all combined is what we want to see in the lead car. Now, the chase position, we have to make sure that the chase car is initiated right at the last orange mark on the wall. Make sure that they're committed to the lead car. They mimic the lead car. They have to be close in proximity. They have to either match up the angle or line or all of it, or all of the above, to show dominance in the chase position.
That's a good look there at Ken Gushi's car. Again, an interesting setup, that V6. So you'll find that engine in like a Tacoma or FJ Cruiser. So a very unique build for Kenshiro Gushi. But here we are back at the line. Kazuya Taguchi is running that VR. So he's running that GTR engine under the hood of the 86. Kazuya Taguchi, that's him. But Dean Carney, obviously the Dodge Viper. Let's see how he handles it on his sight lap. He got a little squirrely on that first outside zone. Let's see if he can harness the Dodge Viper. Here we go, Kazuya Taguchi out front into that first outside zone. Kazuya initiates. Dean Carney, the black shadow, the Viper, lurking in the shadows of the bright yellow 86. Now in that second outside zone, massive angle there for Kazuya, and he goes off course. A little disruption. Kazuya going off course. Contact from Dean Carney. Let's take a look at that, because again, Dean was aggressive on the chase.
Yeah, but man, when Kazuya went off course, it looked like
a head shake there from Dean.
Yeah, it looked like he had a major correction. I don't know if his car's...
I think he shut it down.
Yeah, maybe he had to shut it down. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he shut it down. Just one, the contact. Two, make sure nothing's... So let's take a look. The overhead, the truth serum. This is going to show the attitude of the car. As you said, he goes off course, but it seems that he re-enters and he's corrected quite a bit.
Yeah, right here at the outside zone 2, Kearney gets very aggressive, but right there, it looks like he was almost shutting off or something happened to the car. I'm not sure, but it looked like he was actually... the car was correcting, and he kind of moved to the right because the car maybe didn't have any power. I'm not sure what happened right here, but it didn't look like the contact happened until Taguchi slowed down, getting off course, and it looked like Dean didn't have anywhere to go.
Let's take a look at this again, though. Watch Dean Carney, his front right wheel. He has contact with Kazuya Taguchi, and he hits Kazuya's back left. That might have shot him a little off course. So I know, Robbie, if you have, obviously your priority here is to give the verdict. You're a judge, so please analyze this.
Yeah,
go ahead.
What you just said was pretty right, because I think looking at the replays here, it looks like Dean hits him first. It may be a little bit before where Kazuya Taguchi gets off course, but maybe 3/4 of the way. Let's go ahead and check this out. Right there, he taps Taguchi, and he starts to kind of wash out from the tap, and that might have been what caused Taguchi to go off course as well.
And the big thing here is you see the side skirt go off, but I think the bigger thing here is the contact, the rubber to rubber. That's going to stop that back left wheel pretty quickly. So watch. And you see the attitude of the car get disrupted. Watch Kazuya's wheel.
Yeah.
Watch in-car. You see his wheel get jarred quite a bit. That's just the front. Take into consideration that back, how volatile that is. So you go rubber on rubber going the opposite way, right? It's going to get a lot of bite there.
Yeah, so it looked like he was actually going off course, and he was trying to avoid to make anything worse, and he just started to slow down after the contact and after he was going to the right side or outside of the end of outside zone 2.
Robbie,
So-
your main focus is judging, so
Yeah.
please feel free. You don't need to talk anymore. Go and elaborate with your other judges. Again, Brian Egger, Robin Sheeta, Chris Ewell are judges. Now, here's the instances. They need to deem who's at fault. One, to, basically say, hey, you can get hands on your car. Also, there could be an advantage, which we won't dispel that until we're completed with the entirety of the run. All right, so while we're trying to figure this out, let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who's with the very happy, the OG, Ken Gucci.
Yeah, that's right. Very happy guy for the win, but he's dealing with a lot of issues. You're really concerned about the slave cylinder here.
Yeah, we've been fighting some drivetrain issues all weekend, starting from practice, and to be honest with you, the rain definitely saved us in that battle against Frederick Osbo. But my team has been doing a phenomenal job making sure that the car keeps running. But yeah, unfortunately, that issue is in the back of my head every lap I make. Hoping that the rain continues to come down. Unfortunately for the fans, that's probably not what you guys wish for, but it's going to take away a lot of the stress and load off of our drivetrain, so yeah.
So what were your thoughts facing Frederick Osbo, a 3-time champ, and what was your strategy going in?
To be honest with you, I had no strategy. I knew we were up for a huge fight. He's obviously a 3-time champ for a reason. He's very consistent and ideally good in wet conditions. But I knew that if the weather came down, we had a better chance going against him. And luckily for us, it did. So we are here now after beating Osbo and back in the top 16 for the first time in 3 rounds.
Now, you did tell me that you feel like with the car you're dealing with a ticking time bomb. Does that get in your head?
It does, but my team has been making sure that, I don't really think about that stuff. Obviously, as a team owner, you worry about the finances and how costly it can be to keep beating on the car. But yeah, they're making sure that my head is in the right space, and we're here to win and put on a show.
I love that. Ken, thank you so much. Best of luck moving forward. We'll see him in the top 16.
Thank you so much, Lorette Nickel. All right, so this is what's unfolded. Robbie, I know you went and spoke to your fellow judges as well. Ryan Lontaine playing Chief Steward here this weekend, or playing the role of that. Brian Eggert, Chris Ewell. Kazuya Taguchi making his way back to the pits. You guys have deemed that Dean Carney was at fault. So what transpires here is if Dean wants to get hands on his car, he has to use his NGK competition timeout, and Kazuya Taguchi is allotted a 10-minute allocation to put hands on his car. At first glance, it looked like Kazuya came back, he re-entered, but Dean's hit was a little more substantial than we initially thought.
Yeah, when we first initially watched it, the tap happened a little earlier, so we didn't think that it was going to affect it as much. But when you watch the replay and everything and the reaction of Taguchi's car, it was pretty much he kind of got shoved off the track, and after that, he was just trying to fight the car for it to come back on track and stay on track. So yeah, we had to put it on Dean Carney as he's at fault.
Carnage, living up to his name, man. It's a dog day summer out here as we are getting prepped. So, again, our judges here this round. Robin Ishida, who's also playing double host. He is a co-host here as well as a judge. Brian Eggert and Chris Ewell. So, again, we have a rotating judging panel. We have 4 judges in all. Ryan Lontaine sitting out this round, but he is still occupied by being being driver steward if there are any protests or anything like that. Next battle, Taylor Hull, Simon Olson. Taylor Hull from Sonoya, Georgia. Full pole Hull in that Comp Cams Corvette. And Simon Olson, first time ever in an S chassis, first time ever in a supercharged V8, and then an S chassis. And
yeah.
he's making it look really good.
Yeah, he looks really comfortable.
Yeah, and you got to think just with all the equity, because this vehicle operated by the Bakchi's camp, Odie, who is always a bridesmaid, is going for that championship, the field suspension, the GT radials. Almost identical setup to that of Odie Bakshi's. All right, here we go.
He's like suspension master.
Right. Yeah, and he took a lot of his 2-wheel. He started out on dirt bikes and then now applied that to 4 wheels. Here we go. Taylor Hull out front, and looks like we got a restart.
Taylor brought this car in. Was it from the beginning of this year? Because
it was last year as well.
Last year, right?
Yep,
yeah,
last year as well.
And he also looks really comfortable in the Corvette chassis too. So
yeah, he was campaigning that Cadillac for 3 years, the ATS-V, and slowly got better and better with each season. I would say the third season it came all together, coalesced. But I think this Corvette, just with the development of the Corvette, they're getting wildly popular.
Oh yeah,
because
I see them all
the
over
aftermarket,
online. Yeah.
right?
I mean,
you're going to buy one.
I mean, we don't have many in Japan. I mean, it'll be easier to get one here. But like you're saying, Odie's crew, you know, he has a prospect driver as well. There's 3 drivers, and they all look good. So looking forward to seeing big things from them this year too.
Yeah, Ben Hobson competed in Pro Spec. He had a great day. I would say Thursday. Yesterday, not so much. A bit of bad luck, just very similar to what we saw with Osborne, #1 qualifier, going out 32. Hobson did get on to the 16, but got knocked out early. Here we go, Taylor Hull. It's all about him and Simon Olsen, the Norwegian pilot. Now coming to that second outside zone. Taylor Hull, good transition. Look at that fluid. Rock solid. That's the way you want to be. Again, I don't know if it's still raining. We're still seeing some umbrellas out there. We are up in the tower. Now Taylor Hull transition, that last outside zone. How's he going to handle it? Boom, uses all the course. But Simon Olsen, we talked about how confident he is out of the gate in this new chassis for him. Again, never driven an S chassis, never driven an LS supercharged, and he's looking like he never skipped a beat.
Yes, he did. And in the lead position here, Taylor Hull does a good job filling the outside zones and keeping enough angle through the zones. And Simon mimicking his moves, staying on the same line or similar line, not as much angle, but keeping the proximity really tight. And right there at the end at the outside zone 3, it looked like Taylor kind of slowed down a little bit coming off the end of the outside zone 3, and that's where Simon kind of pulled in. Got a little smaller on the line, I guess, around the outside zone 3, but now we're going to have to see what happens when they switch places.
Yeah, you saw him get shallow, kind of like avoiding Taylor, right?
Yeah.
So you got to power all the way through. Get it all the way through. All right, here we go. Now we're seeing Simon Olsen out front, field suspension, GT radial, S chassis into that first outside zone. Look at that, dragging that back bumper. Now into and transitioning into that second outside zone, the 180-degree turn. Filling all of it is Simon Olsen. Taylor Hull maybe given a little bit of comfort room. Let's see, as he get a surge and attack here, past that one and only inside clip, the lone inside clip, and Taylor Hull goes to the wall. And that is just too aggressive for Taylor Hull. He slams that back left end and takes himself out. And that's how I think this course is going to play out. Again, very unassuming course, but it's the driver and that game of inches, either from the bumper to the wall or in between your ears, man. It's a mind game.
Yeah, you can't, you're going to have to, it's an intense battle all the way to the end because there is a wall right before the outside zone 3 too. But here we go. Looks like they were positioning themselves a little bit similar when they were switched places, but Taylor looks like he gives him a little bit of space, and at the end, right before the outside zone 3, he does a transition and goes a little bit too deep and ends up into the wall and straightens. So in the chase position, that's going to be an incomplete. So that's 2 battles that we saw. Simon didn't incomplete either of them and did a fairly good job in the lead position as well. Taylor Hull did a good job in the lead position, but he did incomplete in his chase position. So this might be an easy call for the judges this time, unfortunately.
Man, again, it is an easy call for, you say, the judges, including you. So, unfortunately, Taylor Hull, that Comp Camps Corvette, takes himself out, but Simon Olsen reaps the rewards of just such a big mistake there, and right there at the end. And I got to tell you, you know, on paper, it was going to be close. I mean, right? If you didn't hit that wall and just filled it, would it still have gone, Simon, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you what would have happened at the outside zone 3, but like, let's say if it was similar to the outside zone 2, maybe one more time, or maybe it would have been going towards Simon because of the gap that was created. But we'd have to obviously, you know, look at the replays more to see how much angle they had in behind and stuff.
All right, so sorry to cut you off there, Robbie. Let's throw it down to Lorette as we can see Dean Carnage Carney. Lorette.
Dean, I saw you come into the pits visibly upset. What's your take on what happened between you and Kazuya?
Yeah, I absolutely am. He was going really, really slow an out or two, and I tagged him, and then 4.5 or 5 seconds later, then he pops it out of throttle and walks off the track, drops 2 tires, and obviously he has no drive then, so I'm naturally going to fucking hit him. So it's clearly his fault. Just frustrating to say the least.
Do you have a lot of damage to the car right now?
Yeah, there is, yeah. It's damaged enough that we won't be able to change the parts. So I know we're just going to adjust it and see what happens.
Thanks, guys.
Wow.
So the clock is still running. It is at 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Thank you, Lorette. The hat looks great on you, by the way. I like it. I know the humidity, your hair gets all curly. I know that's just like, let's throw a hat on this head. But again, save it from the rain.
Looking at this, like we were saying earlier, we could only tell from what's happening in the inside of the or outside of the car, and the perspective obviously that Dean has is probably a lot different. But we can tell one thing, that he is a lot shallower going to the outside zone or driving through the outside zone too. Where if you look at the drone footage, Kazuya's car looks more at angle, then Dean kind of comes in, not T-boning, but he was a little bit more shallower. And the effect, it could be like a trickle effect where something would have happened even at the first turn, that could affect something going on in the second turn. So you never know until the end. So watching the replays, that's what we came up with. And it's unfortunate that he feels different about it, but we'll see what happens when he gets both the cars back on the track.
And you can see, look at all that tire debris, man. That's gonna just accumulate more and more. We're gonna clean up as it goes on. But obviously, Dean Carnage visibly and verbally upset there. So apologize for the language, but emotions get the best of him. But yeah, driving with emotion, driving with potentially damaged parts.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna see what happens there. But Dean, I see his brother's his spotter over here, and I believe they might even be protesting that, as you said, and as Dean said, excuse me. He said he's going slow.
Yeah.
So, and the only way we can indicate that is maybe utilizing the momentum lights. I mean, did we assess that? Look at those?
Yeah, we'd have to look at it again. But all the drivers and the teams has a chance to protest as long as it's in the rule book, and the stewards would have to follow the rules that we have and go back and look at the replays and so forth. So we'll see what happens.
Right now we are revisiting the one more time between Diego Higa and Odi Bakshis. They've taken their sight laps. Hopefully the track dries out. We won't need sight laps maybe if we advance on further and it dries out. Not seeing some ponchos out there or umbrellas. We do have some easy ups up at the top of the bleachers just to protect from the sun. Here we go, the one more time battle between Odi Bakshis. Again, we just saw Simon Olsen advance on. Who's advancing on here? Field suspension, GT Radio pedal commander S chassis, or Diego Higa, the Brazilian star, coming now into Formula Drift Pro Championship. Look at that composure. Great job, Diego Higa, making his presence felt. Looked like he almost got his door, but I don't think there was contact. Now to that last outside zone. Odi using all the cores. You see almost flirting with that wall and keeping it off the wall.
See, this happens with a lot of the one more time battles because, you never know what would happen. If that was Higa's chase run earlier, he got a lot closer than his first chase run. Now Odi obviously doing a great job. As usual in the lead position, he's filling the zones the way he's supposed to. But look at this, at the middle to the end of the outside zone 2, Higa gets really, really close to Odi's car and shows dominance in the chase position too. Now I'm excited to see what's going to happen when they change places.
Well, what's interesting here, and you brought up a great point, you've seen what they can do, and now in the heat of battle, it's kind of like, okay, now I see you. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I think it's a mentality. Like when I was driving, I felt the same way too. But sometimes you feel like you shouldn't go 100%, but that's not what we want to see. We want to make sure that the drivers are always running 100% and not holding back. So it looks like he wasn't holding back this time.
Well, it's you can't win in 32. You can't win in 16. You can't win in 8. You can't win in 4. You can only win in the final. So I know the championship etiquette, and we've seen this from, Tanner Faust, I think, did it the best. He wouldn't go 100% in 32. You'd see him kind of ramp it up, and it was just visibly apparent where he drive 90, then 92%, 95%, and just dial it up. And Tanner is so good at that, hence why he's a two-time champion. Here we go, Diego Higa. He is leading Odi Bakshis in that chase position in the outside zone 1. Diego Higa using all of it. Odi Bakshis getting bathed in smoke, and that is a good sign that the course is drying out. Diego Higa gets into the dirt. He uses his wheel as a shovel, and look at that. We can see Odi Bakshis now chasing him down, transitioning past that inside clip into outside zone 3, Diego Higa. But Odi Bakshis, look at this great battle. Again, seeing the smoke is indication that the course is drying out, so that is a good sign.
Yeah, so in the lead position, I just remembering what I just saw, both of the battles, it looks like Odi doesn't go as deep on outside zone 1. He does a good job, fairly good job, but he doesn't go as deep, but Higa does. But after the outside zone 1, it looks like Higa gets a little bit too deep at outside zone 2. That's pretty much a mistake, and that actually throws off the chase vehicle, but Odi does a good job staying in there and keeping it tight as he's supposed to. And right here after the transition as well, he keeps the pressure on, and both the drivers finishes off. So this might be very, very close. I'm going to make a decision, but this might be very, very close. But I'm going to have to see the obvious mistakes that the lead vehicle had to make, and I think the other judges are going to agree with that. But we'll go ahead and see.
All right, so again, Diego Higa, a good driving out front, good chasing. Odie, one of the best chase drivers in the biz. Just the way he keeps his composure, minimal corrections. He's always there, threatening, grinding. So here we go, slide him left for Odie or right for Diego Higa. It looks like a one more time from Brian, and it looks like from you, Robbie, and one more time. So going at it again. So not once, but twice one more time. And again, Robbie, you cite, what do you guys think? Odie Bakshi's, Diego Higa, it's a tight one. The stands are filling up.
Hey, but you know what? It's a good battle. So, you know, we hate to give one more time when it's like numerous mistakes.
You're
Yeah,
like,
it's
okay.
weak. But when we see good battles like this where it's close, you know, both the drivers are doing great, and one more time is, I think it's a good call. So.
And Robbie, you did go against your fellow judges here. They went one more time.
Yeah.
Your justification of saying Odie over Diego.
Yeah, well, obviously going off track, and that upset the lead vehicle's move, but I think Odie did a good job chasing and also mimicking and not messing up
He adapted
behind.
to it,
he
right?
adapted to it really well, so that's why I kind of went with Odie. But at the same time, like I was saying, outside zone 1, Diego did a better job filling it as a lead vehicle, and Odie didn't fill it as well. So now we want to see perfection, in both the drivers, and maybe we'll just keep going with it one more time.
They want to see it as well. And yesterday, Dmitry Brudsky, who got second, he's a former Pro Spec champion. On the podium, I asked him. He says, "I'm just tired. Every battle he had it one more time," and that really does contribute to your exhaustion, your mental capacity, just all that. So you're mentally exhausted, you're physically exhausted, and especially right now, it's humid, it's hot. That contributes.
Yeah, the driver's probably
right.
really hot and tired.
I know. We got some cool suits in there. They got the kind of water veins running underneath their suit, but that can only do so much. We always joke, you're in your race pajamas. It gets hot, man.
Oh,
it gets
does,
real hot
for sure. And the cars are hot too.
Yeah. So they're boiling, you're boiling. It just contributes. So again, exhaustion is a big factor here. Moving on to the second half of this battle, if you can recall, Dean Carnage Carney, Kazuya Taguchi getting into it. The judges deemed Dean Carney at fault. So Kazuya Taguchi, a little bit of advantage here. Both their cars running, but Dean Carney, very apparent. He says, "Hey, I got some damaged parts. We got a run and gun. We don't have time to fix it." So look at this. He's going to throw it down. Dean Carnage Carney, Hyper, NFT.io, Dodge Viper. Good transition into that second outside zone, filling all of it. He got deeper in it, the second half of that second outside zone, past that inside clip, into that last outside zone. Good angle and transition, aggressive by Dean Carney. And it looks like Kazuya Taguchi bringing it on in, kind of playing it safe. I wanted to see Kazuya maybe get a little more aggressive, but maybe his car's compromised as well.
Yeah, that might be it, but, from the interview we heard too, that it might be because, maybe Dean's car is a little bit more gripped up and a little bit faster, but at the same time, he doesn't throw as much angle as he should. And since the car looks like it's gripped up a little bit more, he does miss the first half of outside zone 2, dips in, leaves early of outside zone 2 in the lead position. That's not what we want. So I'm not going to say he's trying to run away, but the car is, built that way maybe, and it's not giving the chase car a fair chance to do a good follow.
Car's not 100%. Again, the vehicle's been compromised. As he said, didn't have time to switch out the parts. That could contribute to what's going on. But as Kazuya Taguchi, Dean Carney, again, after that first battle being assessed, you could see minus that left side skirt, you could see some tire damage on the door and right behind. And here we go, slide him left for Kazuya Taguchi or right for Dean Carnage Carney, and it looks like Kazuya Taguchi gets the win. Taguchi advances on. Dean Carney is knocked out. So Taguchi advances on. He will be going against Simon Olsen. And speaking of Simon Olsen, Laurent Nichols with the most recent winner.
Absolutely, and Simon is down here, and his teammate Odie Bakshi is right next to him. You guys have been sharing data, and you made some setup changes for comfort. Those are obviously working for you.
Yeah, we did the practice on first day. Was feeling good, but then we looked at some data and we saw that we was kind of a little bit off. So watching all our practice runs and our opponents for today, we decided that we had to do some changes, and I guess it's working out. So Yeah, I'm super happy. We got the win in top 32, and I'm not sure who we are facing right now, but yeah, I think the result is coming soon. But yeah, we'll be ready for whatever, and yeah, super happy. Let's go.
Absolutely. So you'll see Kazuya Taguchi in your next battle in top 16. And you said when you went out to the sighting lap, you basically put down a qualifying lap. Was that risky for tire wear?
Yeah, we have been quite good on tire wear the whole weekend, actually. So I wasn't too much afraid of that. But of course, you always want to have as much tires for the competition. But I felt since the weather was a little bit rain and patchy, that was our feedback from our spotter. So we had to put it down to know what to expect. So we did some extra rain setup changes on it, but it dried up pretty fast. So yeah, but we had to just throw it down in the side lap just to see, to collect as much data as possible. And yeah, it worked out. So.
Love that for you. Congratulations. And as the camera swings around, you can see what's happening here with Odie. He has a fan in the car, and the crew is trying to cool it down. And that's what's happening in the hot pits right now, guys.
Hot pits, literally. Again, you can almost feel the heat. I mean, but I'm seeing people in hoodies. My man in a pink hoodie right here. What are you doing, dude? I mean, is he training for a wrestling match or something? But the stands are filling up. Again, new fans, old fans, and again, so many icons here, not only the drivers, but vehicles as well. Toyota debuting 3 new models on Thursday night in New York, and they are here in the building at the Toyota display. I had an opportunity to rip them around as our media gets set, so take a look at 3 brand new Toyota models that are here on site and being launched just this week.
If you're a sucker for hatchbacks like I am, this car might just absolutely feed your diet. This hot hatchback, the 2024 GR Corolla Circuit Edition, available for only around 1,600 units in North America. Now, keep in mind, this is a 3-cylinder, 1.6-liter all-wheel drive hatchback that has 300 horsepower. Yeah, that's right, nearly 300 foot-pounds of torque. Man, blue flame, ice cap, colors might sound cool, but this is a hot hatchback. The GR86 Trueno Edition. Same engine that comes in the GR86, but now we've hopped up the brakes. If speed kills, well, brakes give life, right? Comes in either the iconic white and black, the Panda scheme, or you got the track red. The Toyota Supra, an icon amongst JDM cars. Well, Toyota has now created the 2024 Toyota GR Supra 45th anniversary. That's right, 900 units available. Mikan Blast, 450, or you got Absolute Zero, only 450 of those. So 900 units in total. To denote this car as the 45th anniversary and change it up a little bit, a rear adjustable wing, also on the corners. Matte black finish on the wheels and black brake calipers. Toyota, 45th anniversary. Happy birthday.
3-time Formula Drift champion Jared Deander behind the camera right there, the voice of Formula Drift, Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Oslo. I'll show you things.
Look, leave it to the professionals, bro. Okay. All right, Mom, Dad, it's been nice knowing you.
I'm making you nervous? Now, I'm just going to leave it to the professionals. You, okay. Castro, Kushi, and Turk. It's been real. I got to go announce.
Words.
Yeah, it looks like, they're probably talking about the slowdown and the none of the slowdown. This part of it, we do see time to time in the pits where the drivers actually, talk to each other, and, they're obviously passionate about it, and at the heat of the moment, they do exchange words, talking about how, maybe he's saying, you did slow down, but, Taguchi's probably saying, it looked like the hand gesture right now, he was going off course and this and that. Maybe the stopping part of it, maybe, I'm not sure if they were talking about when he got off course and they stopped, but obviously the contact that he had before that, in Dean's eyes, it probably doesn't mean much. Maybe he thought he just tapped him, and maybe he's thinking that he did react too much. But, you know, on camera and from the replays that we see, Dean is a lot more shallower when the contact happened. Yep. And it wasn't like, you know, we saw a abrupt slowdown by Taguchi, so we had to go that way. And a lot of the drivers and fans, you know, sometimes feel very different from what we decide. You know?
what you assess, and but you have so many different angles, and you're really analyzing to the umpteenth degree.
Yeah, but you do have to, you know, trust us sometimes because we
trust you all the time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I trust you all the time. You don't have to defend yourself. Again, you guys scrutinize it more than anybody, I swear. Here we go. Matt Field and that Borla exhaust, Heat Wave, Lean Custom, GT Radial, Corvette, Robert Thorne making moves from prospect to pro. This is his maiden voyage in the pro competition. He's going up against second overall in the 22 season. Matt Field dialing it in on the inside clip. Now transitioning into that last outside zone. Woo-wee! Look at that. All right, Robert Thorne brings it on home, but I'll tell you what, you can't have a good chase run if you don't have a good lead run, and Matt Field did exactly that. Matt Field qualifying 4th.
Yeah, and as the number 4 qualifier, that's a great job in the lead position. He does fill the zones correctly, stays on throttle, and very stable. And right here in the chase position, Thorne does a good job in chasing him down, being in good proximity, a little bit of wavering here and there, and probably slightly on a smaller line, but overall I would have to say Thorne's chase was really good. But like you said, you know, in front of every good chase, there's a good lead run. So both the drivers did a good job now. Let's see what happens when they switch places.
Thorne will lead that ASM Momo BMW. Again, he is a wheelman. He came from the traditional sports car racing world. I mean, he's raced McLarens, Porsches. He's raced a variety of different vehicles. I know the Grid Life boys are cheering him on. Adam Jabay, Sean Fenton, Chris Stewart, and Cone. I mean, the whole Grid Life family. They've been cheering him on as we're seeing a lot of those traditional racers, you know, saying like, "Oh, maybe I'd go drifting," because Robert Thorne is a great testimonial to that. Now he's out front. He's got Matt Field in his rearview mirror. How's he going to handle that pressure? Robert Thorne initiates. Oh, he drags some bumper on the wall on initiation outside zone 1. Matt Field does keep his composure, not affected by that contact into the wall. That second outside zone, Robert Thorne filling it. Look at Matt Field. Again, this is where you get in trouble. That contact has not paid off, so just back off. Don't get your GT Radial, your Ford Star wheel in the side of him. And he keeps that composure. Great job by both the drivers. And again, kudos to Robert Thorne making the jump from prospect to pro. Really talented driver. Again, he had success here last year. I believe he won, if I'm not mistaken, in prospect. But let's break it down again, Robbie.
Right here, outside zone 1. Great job coming off of the wall, filling the zone. But right after the transition to outside zone 2, doesn't fill the outside zone 2 as well in the lead position, going against Matt Field, because Matt Field did a good job on outside zone 3. Now pushing keeping the pressure on the lead car. Matt Field does stay within proximity though most of the track. And there's one area where I see in the lead position where Thorne doesn't fill outside zone 2 as well. Now, I'm pretty sure all the judges are looking at that, but yeah, I mean, I would have to say this is a pretty good battle between both of the drivers. And like you said, you know, coming from a non-drifting world and being able to drive like this, you know, Thorne is a threat to probably all the drivers in the series.
Yeah, some great driving by both of them. Let's slide them left for Field, right for Robert Thorne. Looks like one judge, Field, and there you go, Robbie Sida and Matt Field. Again, Robert Thorne, really good run, but unfortunately you're going against Matt Field. He is hungry like the wolf, the beast from the bay. The fangs are out, the claws are out. He wants this. He wants the championship. So, sorry, Thorne. Unfortunately, the Thorne didn't strike here. Matt Field, the beast from the bay, gets the win and advances on. Throw it down to Lorette Nickel. Lorette, what's cooking?
Freddie and I are just talking about his top 32 battle, and it's really unusual for us to see Freddie go out in top 32. So what happened in that battle, and what are you processing right now?
Well, first and foremost, rain started coming out right before 32 there, and we were the first battle, and Ken did a fantastic job behind me. It was really patchy out there, and I was a little on and off in my lead, and he chased me really well. So Steph told me that we were probably even after the first battle, and that, yeah, Ken was on point. I was not, so I made a poor decision going into turn 2 in my chase and tapped his front tire and Ken kept going while I straightened out. So it's just one of those days, not the best day at the office, but we'll take this on the chin and move on.
At this point, who are you keeping an eye on? Anyone?
I mean, anyone can win here today, and it's really tight in the championship race. This is obviously a big blow to our championship race, but not impossible for us to come back. So I'm going to be out there now watching. The drift fan has woken up in me, so I'll be out there taking notes and seeing what I can learn.
Freddie, thank you very much. Guys?
Some great insight, and as Freddie says, take it on the chin. This shakes up the championship hunt. You know, Fredrik Osbo leading the charge, coming into this round. We just saw Matt Field advance on to 16. You know, as far as the point standings, Freddie leads it, Chelsea Denofa, Matt Field, James Dean, Chris Forsberg. A lot of tires to turn here in New Jersey. Where the chips fall and where the points go and are allocated, we're going to find out. Here we go, moving back to the second one more time. Oh, no, sorry. I apologize. Thought that was that. Oh, yeah, it is Odie. Yeah, all right, just to clarify, this is Odie Bakshis and Diego Higa. Here we go, this is Odie Bakshis and Diego Higa for a second, one more time. Again, the big fans were out, not just the drift fans, literally keeping the cars cool. They're out running hot. Odie Bakshis filling all that second outside zone. Diego Higa a little late to get into that second outside zone, but now, again, there's that contact. You saw that door flex, but fortunately, he hit him on the door, not the tire. That could disrupt both vehicles, as we saw earlier with Kazuya Taguchi and Dean Carnage Carney. And there you go, Diego Higa, again, making his presence felt on the door of Odie Bakshis.
Well, I have a feeling that we're going to be watching this battle so many more times, but here Odie does a better job than his earlier run at outside zone 1, and it looks like he doesn't have a problem filling both of the zones, outside zone 1 and 2. And right behind him, Higa is chasing him down close in proximity, but he does make a slight mistake getting a little too close at the exit of outside zone 2 and kind of falls back, but gets right into formation after the transition going to outside zone 3. Let's see what happens now when Higa leads and Odie gives chase.
All right, here we go. Diego Higa out front, and Odie Bakshis chasing him down. And like we said, Diego, you saw him throwing it down. Let's see. Ooh, Diego Higa flirting with those cones. He's coming out hot. Guns are swinging, and so are the 86s. Diego Higa, JDM Supreme vehicle coming to that second outside zone. There's Odie Bakshis. Good angle. I think he's keeping a safe distance. Diego Higa exceeding the track just a little bit, but look at Odie Bakshis. Again, it's not necessary to hit the door. That's just giving you, again, a little love tap there into that last outside zone. Odie coming up a little bit short. Let's take a look at the Truth Serum camera, that overhead drone that's really going to be indicative of where the vehicles are.
Yeah, right here, Higa does the same lead run as his earlier run, but Odie not giving him any space. Right after they enter the outside zone 2, it looks like Odie had to fix himself, but it looks like Higa leaves outside zone 2 a little bit earlier, but Odie keeps the pressure on. Odie takes a smaller line at the outside zone 3 area in the chase position. So this is going to be another tough call for us because, you know, both the drivers are doing a fantastic job behind and in front of each other.
All right, so Robbie and our other judges, Robbie, Chris Yule, Brian Eggert. Again, 2 more times. Hats off to both these drivers. It just shows you we are splitting hairs, and here we are only in the 32. How it's going to advance on, this is it's going to be interesting, man. Again, very unassuming track with it being flat, outside zones. It could be anybody's game, and in this case, after 2 more times, Odie Bakshis gets the win unanimously. Hats off and a round of applause for Diego Higa, the Brazilian driver. Again, really good driving by him, but after 2 more times, it looks like Odie Bakshis just a little more refined here on this second 1 more time. Odie gets it done for the field suspension team, and alongside Simon Olsen, they could meet in the 8. Coincidentally, but Odie Bakshis gets the win after 2 more times. So, yeah, I mean, what's up?
Diego's pretty much, I mean, that was a great run. We saw it, they did it so easily, but that was, you know, one of the best chases that we've seen from Diego. But the small mistake that he made actually took him out, and Odie coming back and fixing his problem that he had earlier, filling the outside zone 1 and making, you know, his lead run even perfect, gave him the win. So great job by both drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. So Diego Higa, unfortunately knocked out. Odi Bakshis. Speaking of moving on, Jonathan Castro and Jeff Jones. Jonathan Castro here in his GR86, having some fun with those new GR models. And here we are now looking at Jeff Jones, that supercharged Evo AutoWorks Nissan 370Z. Castro leading and Jones giving chase. Coming out of the chute, here comes Castro into that first outside zone. Castro filling all of it. Jeff Jones tracking him down. Castro's got a lot of fans here in the building, flying the DR flag. Jeff Jones now finds that great proximity, big drift energy, and the NRG innovations. Now transitioning that last outside zone. Here comes the LTH Mobile 1 GR86. Jonathan Castro, tell you what, very minimal corrections. Those white wheels standing out on both the vehicles, and that's going to show you how minimal corrections or how aggressive you have corrections. Not the case for Castro.
Yeah, so as we were speaking earlier, you never know who's going to take the win at this track because all the drivers look like they're making it, driving this track perfect. Look at the lead position. Castro does a great job. I wouldn't say he was all the way on the outside zone too. He did leave a little bit of space, but I think it was good enough. And Jeff Jones, keeping the pressure on the whole time. He did have to run a smaller line here and there, but another good lead and chase run that we saw. And now we're going to have to see Jeff Jones lead and Castro give chase.
What I really liked about Castro's lead run, as you said, didn't get all of the second outside zone, left a little on the table, a little bit of crumbs, but very smooth and very committed. You saw when he transitioned out of outside zone 2 into the inside clip, the wheels, set it and forget it. It was locked.
No adjustments made. None. He just he knew what he was doing pretty much.
Yeah, really good spatial awareness as far as the vehicle and where the car is at. Now Jeff Jones got that clean air. How is he going to handle and manage? Look at Castro. Oh, Jeff Jones, nice job. He's using all of the course there, getting that car naturally to slow down, initiating into that and transitioning in that second outside zone. He is getting all that second outside zone. Castro, so again, in that chase position, you can see him kind of modifying and getting close, getting that proximity, and Jeff Jones using all the course. Man, and this is where it gets tough. And like you said, with Higa and Odi, you said you don't mind giving one more times to those that are driving to this caliber. It's when you're kind of like, oh, who's just slightly better than the word? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Here,
this may be another one because
this might be one.
Yeah,
That's why I say that.
Jeff Jones does a good job on the outside zone 1, and he gets into outside zone 2 a little late, but moves himself all the way to the outside. But now we have Jonathan Castro keeping the pressure on. A little bit wiggly towards the end of the outside zone 2, but gets right into formation going to outside zone 3. And man, this is going to be another tough one for us to call. Another run right here from a different angle. Jeff Jones, here you go. He starts to move himself to the outside zone 2. Jonathan Castro keeping the pressure on, taking out a little bit of angle to keep that proximity going, but once again, it's going to be a hard one for us to choose because
splitting hairs.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that it's a simple course. It isn't, because there's a lot of obstacles in there. But I think both of the drivers, or all the drivers actually, kind of perfected this track within the past couple of years.
Taking a look at the BC Racing Go for Gold side by side, the official suspension of Formula Drift. Look at the proximity here. You see again, Jeff Carr a little more settled, but like the proximity that Castro has, he kind of surges, comes back. Both of them very similar lines in the chase position. Outside zone 3, both lead versus lead, chase versus chase. I think it's very similar. I think 2 is kind of the not blaringly obvious, but that's where you really start to see the difference in the nuances of driving.
It looks like, oh, here we go. This might explain it a little bit. And the ideal runs are on the green all the way on the top. It's this close proximity with a matching angle, and both the cars, obviously positioning themselves where they're supposed to be, closer to the clips if it's inside or the outside zones, runs the same line and stays in the same angle. Now, when you make a compromise in the yellow, you can see how much angle the chase car has less than the lead car, and also running a different line or being far away. Now, what's the worst is not on the same line, being very shallow, or not being close. There's usually 3 things we see in the chase position.
All right. So here we are, and it's going one more time. So here we are, and this is This is exactly what I was talking about earlier with the Odie and Diego Higa. I could totally justify the one more time. So, all right. So again, breaking that down. So to elaborate here, just for our fans, giving you education, if your first time or your 100th time, that kind of good, better, best, the graphics as far as good, compromise, and poor. So ideal, what Robbie was saying here, close proximity with matching angle. Boom, you're right there. Yep. Look at that, side by side. Compromise, so your proximity with slightly less angle, you can see about 10, 15 degrees or your back, so you're compromising something. So either that proximity or that angle view, and you get, again, both are viewed as an equal compromise to the ideal chase above. So this is all pending if that lead car is on the right line. Now poor, finally, again, close proximity, but you're back there not mimicking the angle, so good, better, best. All right, so again, giving some more elaboration here, but let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who is with a top 16 driver, Kazuya Taguchi.
I just wanted Kazuya to have the opportunity to explain his side because I did see him drive over to Dean. He was having a conversation. What was said?
I think he thought I let out the throttle on purpose. But actually I didn't. He contacted me like middle of the outer zone 2, and I was into the dirt because of the contact. My right rear tire was on the dirt, so I was gonna try to keep driving, but I was gonna into the wall, end of the outer zone 2. So I let off the throttle to save the car, but that's me. Completely misunderstand. I usually don't do it, like, those stuff.
As a straight-up driver, as you have shown us you are, there's some damage here that your team's working on. What's happening?
I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening. But it seems like they replaced the whole subframe, wide swap, control arm, like everything. So kind of like, I am the one who's supposed to be mad, but I don't mad, That's a racing. So anyways, we're going to focus about top 32. And so hopefully, we can get another Ichiban.
Kazuya, thank you very much for your side, guys.
That's right. So Kazuya Taguchi, like you said, he got a podium most recently in Orlando. He won in St. Louis, and he advances.
I like that.
I don't know what he's doing.
Hey, what are they doing? I don't know. They're just working on cars. But, like he was saying, too, I'm pretty sure most of these drivers, nobody's going to want to play dirty, and some people think they're the victim because something happens on track. But a lot of the cases it's not. It's their own mistake sometimes.
Yep.
And in his case, he was probably trying to explain where he actually got hit, so he should be mad. But I think they should be able to squash that out, and we'll go ahead and go to the next battle.
Well, we have Dean Carnage Carney up here in the judges booth, and he's getting kind of all the different angles and what you guys as judges, you're like, sometimes you gotta listen to us and trust us. No, every time they gotta trust you. It is again, it's an unenviable job. 2 drivers enter, like Chris Forsberg, Ola Jaeger. Somebody's gonna lose, so somebody's gonna be bummed, and also 31 drivers are gonna be bummed because they didn't get the win. Exactly. So here we go. Let's go on to our next battle. Chris the Force Forsberg. This is hometown track here at E-Town. That NOS Energy all-new Z going against Ola Jaeger in that Japan Auto Mark IV Toyota Supra. Forsberg filling all that outside zone, that VR-powered all-new Z. And again, teasing that all-new Nismo Z. He got to drive and drift that thing the other day. I don't know if you saw a little teaser video, but right now you're seeing him throw down for his town. Talking about EC, the East Coast. And again, Drift Alliance, the OGs. Here we go. Chris Forsberg, take a look at it again.
Yeah, so I don't even have to explain this probably because pretty much this is almost a perfect lead run by Chris Forsberg in the lead position, filling the zones from beginning to the end, keeping the inside clips tight. Now we see Ola Jaeger falling back a little bit as we go through the track. Little by little, the gap gets bigger and bigger, but he doesn't look like he's making huge mistakes. He does have to run smaller line at time to time, so now interesting to see what he's going to do in the lead position.
Drift fans of all ages, thanks for joining us out here. Ola Jaeger, he will now lead that Japan Auto Toyota Supra. Run 2 of this battle. Forsberg chasing him down. Forsberg, Jaeger will go against either RCP, Rome Charpentier, or Alex Holovnia, the newcomer from Ukraine. Here we go. Taking a look at Ola Jaeger initiating in that first outside zone. Chris Forsberg applying the pressure. Good transition by Ola Jaeger. See him filling that second outside zone, just barely dipping it in, gets deeper into that second outside zone, the latter half. Now past the inside clip, both of them on it from that perspective. Again, want to take an overhead view, and then Jaeger just barely dipping that back left wheel in, and just giving off a lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Forsberg with just a little bit more proximity.
Yeah, in the chase position as well, but the lead, since Ola's in the lead position, he does leave a little bit of space on the outside zone 1. And right here at the transition, it doesn't look as quick as it's supposed to be. Doesn't feel outside zone 2 from the beginning. He does move his way out to the outside zone, the second half of the outside zone 2 area after the transition. Feels the last half of the outside zone 3 area. So I would have to say Ola Jaeger's lead run wasn't the perfect run, but Chris kept the pressure on the lead driver the whole time and was a little bit closer in the chase position. So it looks like something's going on in Ola's car right now at the start line.
All right, slide him left for Forsberg or right for Ola Jaeger, and Chris Forsberg gets the win. Forsberg advances on. This is where he cut his teeth back in early 2000s. We're talking 02, 03. And Tony Angelo was in the building last night. It was great to talk with Tony, a former competitor. He's got his own YouTube show, so shout out to Tony Angelo and his daughters, and just a great young man.
Like Chris, JR, and Tony. All these guys. Yeah, all these guys were on the East Coast, and I remember them telling me about how they got into drifting, and it was really interesting. But I guess a long time ago when the internet wasn't as huge as now, they were looking for videos because they thought it was cool, and they started in a parking lot and this and that, and now they're all professional drivers.
Yeah, professional drivers and content creators, and just again, here's Forsberg driving the first Nismo Z. We saw that video. Ryan Turek, Von Gittin Jr. I mean, he's practically the Carroll Shelby of our generation now. And taking a look at Matt Field, his advancement in his career and what he's got going on and cooking. And so Matt Field advances on. You can see that. Chris Forsberg going against RCP or Alex Olovnia. Matt Field waiting to find out who he's going against, either Castro or Jeff Jones. Hey, shout out to the DMCC guys. Drift Mania Canada, the DMCC, old school drivers, 9 or 10, Kevin Darwish and the gang from the Great White North. Shout out to you guys. The Crazy 8 track, clouds are in the sky, clouds are on the ground, and we're having love all around here at round 4, the Formula Drift Pro Championship Type S, the official lighting of Formula Drift, the gauntlet presented by AutoZone. Don't go anywhere.
It's my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy, let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime.
Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
Set to revisit Castro, and let's go throw it down to Lorette Nickel in the hot pits.
Yeah, we're in the hot pits. It is hot here today. That's why I'm wearing this hat, because the hair is out of control. But you know who's totally in control? Matt Field. While he was sitting in his car, he was one of the first drivers that didn't have the sight lap. So what's the plan going after that track and not having that sight lap?
I guess the plan is really you just got to trust the team and trust Formula Drift that they're going to send you out on a track that they believe to be as good as it was in practice and qualifying. I mean, they were right, 100%. They were right. My spotter was right. My team was right. But as we're waiting, we're watching rain. We have one setup on the car. And then the rain stops, and we were like, do you keep that setup? And then the sun comes out, and then you go back to what you had before. It was just the whole time I'm sitting there expecting a sight lap, and then you also have to kind of put that into consideration when you're going to go do a lap. How hot are the tires going to be? What pressures are they going to end out at? So to be able to go do, honestly, my best lead run that I've done all weekend, even better than my qualifying lap, after all that going through my head, it feels good, for sure, because there was a lot to consider, a lot to think about, a lot of chatter on the rugged radios, that's for sure. And to be able to go out and lay down that lead lap, huge relief.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad for you. And as the sun is starting to come out, there are still clouds here, high humidity, so drivers have a lot to contend with.
And with the sun comes out, the heat waves go on, baby, getting those shades, blocking out the haters. I know Matt's just a fun-loving dude, but very passionate dude, and you could see it when he doesn't like something. You could tell.
I mean, I would maybe he's just straight up honest, straight up and honest.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I love about drifting. You have all these different personalities, all these different basically it's an international affair. Obviously you're coming to us from Japan, but Ukrainian driver, Halovnia. You got a lot of Norwegians. Look at Jeff Jones, Southern California, Dominican Republic. You got Jonathan Castro. East Coast, West Coast, all of it. So twin burnout boxes have been absolutely helpful, right?
Yeah, I think some of the rounds in Japan, we also have it when they have the space, some of the tracks. But then, yeah, it works out really good because both the cars are ready. Not the first car that's in the first or in the burnout box first doesn't come out first and have to wait a little bit for the other guy to go.
So boom. Yeah. Same heat cycle.
Yep.
Simultaneously.
Yep. So everything is more fair.
Yep. All right, so here we are in the Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. The one more time battle between Castro and Jones. Jeff Jones qualifying 20th, Castro qualifying 13th. Castro will be leading, given his qualifying position.
Looking at all the runs that we saw, the lead runs in these drivers, I mean, everybody's pretty much doing better than their qualify runs. And I think it was because, the temperature change and the grip change that they have. And now, this is the same condition that a lot of the drivers drove in the practice. So they probably have their setups and ready to go. So it's going to be really hard for us to make a decision on who's going to win because they're all going to be doing good. And
Matt had a great point. He was talking about, okay, sight lap, no sight lap. Wet setup, now really dry setup. Oh, really hot setup. And that's how finite and the progression of from 2004 to now 2023, the level of driving and the builds are insane. Here we go, Jonathan Castro, Jeff Jones celebrating 20 years of Formula Drift as again we are seeing the DR driver Jonathan Castro filling all of that zone. We talked about on his first run. Watch the front wheels. No corrections. Transition ready. Bingo bongo. Watch LTH GR86 right into it. But Jeff Jones sweating them in that evil AutoWorks Nissan 370Z. Here we are. Back at it like a track addict. Well done by both drivers. And good trust fall by Jeff Jones. He knew what he saw on that first battle. Switches it up and says, all right, I got you, bro. I got your number.
The drivers don't just come out and do the same thing. They fix what they did. Maybe not wrong, but something bad that they did in the earlier run. And right now you see Castro doing a much better job at outside zone 2. Pretty much this is an almost perfect lead run. And right behind him, Jeff Jones keeps some pressure on, gets really close at the outside zone 3 area as well. But yeah, it's exciting stuff because both the drivers are, bettering themselves from their before their one more time battle. And now we're going to see Jeff Jones lead and Castro give chase.
The word I would like to use is refine, right? So not that the first runs or battles was bad, and hence the one more time, you're really scrutinizing just the finite details, but they refined their runs and really trying not to leave it in the judges' hands. And, we talk about the X factor in judging, but the X factor, needs to exist in their battle runs as well. So again, either transitioning, bang right to the door, or just that big unknown thing that you Holy cow, look at that. And Jeff Jones filling all that second outside zone. Castro, you saw him a little late getting into that second outside zone. Now transitioning past the inside clip into that last outside zone goes Jeff Jones and Castro. I mean, here we are. I mean, just that finite umpty ninth. You know, in racing they call it tenths of tenths. Well, you're not racing the clock. You're not racing the other competitor. You're battling them given the criteria, line, angle, style. Again, we talked about that good, better, best. Again, poor, compromise, or good.
Yeah, I think the lead car is usually battling themselves, just lay down a good lead run. And in this case, same thing. Jeff Jones does a really good job in the lead position, and it's very similar where Jonathan Castro keeps the pressure on, starts getting closer and closer within outside zone 2. A little bit shallower on the angle, but after the switchback right here, tries to attack, and I mean, once again, this is going to be really hard because both the drivers are doing really good, and both the drivers seem like they're refining what you said, you know, refining what they did earlier because of Jeff Jones getting closer. Yeah, it's going to be a hard one. A little bit behind right there. Jeff Jones doesn't look like he was matching the line as much, and Castro looks like he's on the same line, a little bit closer overall as well. And right here, Jones doesn't look like he goes all the way to the outside zone 3 either. Leaves a little bit of space. Man, this is going to be another tough one. This is going to be a hard one to call. But we have to see, you know, both of the drivers pretty much did everything perfectly. But I did see some flaws here and there by some of the drivers, and I'm getting really nitpicky because this.
You're a judge. You're supposed to be judgy. You know, like, what are you? You're real judgy, Robbie. Well, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's why I'm paid the bucks.
Yeah, and earlier, or when I was somewhere, somebody was like, I'm really indecisive of normal stuff. But, you know, when it comes down to judging on, you know, drift cars, you know, obviously I have to do what I have to do. So we do make our decisions based off of what we see and the replays that we have and all the contents we have access to. So after watching all of that, I made my decision.
There you go. Plug it in.
To see what the other judges have to say.
This is similar to the Odie, you know, Diego Higa battle that we saw earlier. And again, going to one more times. And again, I'll be honest with you, Dean Carter's still up here in the booth talking to Sean Adriano and Ryan Montaigne and really deciphering what you guys as the judges, Chris Yule, Brian, and Robbie, looking at these different angles, different perspectives, the overhead view, slowing it down, looking at the decel. What do the people think online? Again, we're taking a look, seeing or here in the building. What do you guys think? Is it going Jeff Jones or is it going Jonathan Castro? All right, so again, going to the judges, and it is not unanimous. It's 2-1. We have one more time, and two of them going Jonathan Castro. Jonathan Castro gets the win. Castro gets the win and advances on. So Jeff Jones knocked down that Evo AutoWorks Nissan 370Z. Jonathan Castro. And Robbie, you sided with Jonathan Castro?
Yes, me and Brian Eggert, yeah, and Chris did one more time. But I mean, it was really, really close. Like I said, you know, I wouldn't blame anybody else if they said it was a one more time, but we did see some of the smaller mistakes that were made, and just taking everything in consideration, we did go with Castro.
What's your justification there? Because seemed that on that chase run,
it looked like Castro was giving a little bit more pressure and leaving off of outside zone 2. He looked like he was kind of a little closer, and it looked like Jeff Jones wasn't filling outside zone 3 as much as how Castro was either, so we went with Castro.
Okay. Jonathan Castro gets the win and advances on. Castro will be going against Matt Field in top 16. And we move on to our next battle. One of these guys going against Chris Forsberg, RCP, Rome Charpentier, and Alex Holovnia from Ukraine. Again, Holovnia, a Formula Drift rookie. He's driving the Chepa Racing Toyota GT86.
This car's loud.
Yeah, his car's real loud. But I'll tell you what, Rome, his livery is loud and his driving's more aggressive. Holovnia overcooks it on outside zone 1. This is going to be a major advantage for Rome as long as he completes the entirety of this run. The lead car does need to complete it, even given that chase car made that major mistake. So unfortunately for Holovnia, the Chepa Racing 86 coming on through, and unfortunately, that's going to be a major advantage for RCP, and again, unfortunately, for Halovnia.
Yeah, so like you said, this looks like an advantage because Halovnia does get a little wide on outside zone 1, does a transition in the wrong area, comes out really, really small on the line at outside zone 2. Rome, in the other hand, in the lead position, does a great job on outside zone 1, 2, and at the transition right here, doesn't fill outside zone 3 from the beginning, but does a good job filling it pretty much all the way through. So I think the big mistake that Halovnia made, it did affect him all the way through up until the outside zone 3 area. So one small mistake can make a huge difference in tandem. So now we're going to have to see. You never know what's going to happen until the end because that's what drifting is. We're going to have to see what Halovnia is going to do in the lead position and how Rome is going to chase him down.
Yeah, Rome, he still needs to deliver. We want to see that active chase. So let's see. Here we go. Halovnia now out front. Chepa racing 86. Rome Charpentier, good initiation. Looks like, just kind of a tempered approach. He knows he doesn't need to really overcook it. Again, we talk about the X factor. It needs to be obvious here in head-to-head as well. But the case for RCP does not need to just do too much and just get there in the mix. And Halovnia, unfortunately, with that mistake on that first outside zone, chasing down Rome.
Yeah, that was a sizable mistake.
Yeah.
So, but you have to give it to the drivers that actually risk it, even after they have a big advantage. If the other driver has an incomplete, they still kind of get into it. Like Rome doesn't give him any space, and that is a huge risk because if something happens here, that could be an incomplete for the chase vehicle too. But I think the chase position, no matter what happens, I would like to see the drivers try the hardest to chase down the lead car.
Yeah, you want to be decisive and kind of own it, right? So that's the case here. Rome Charpentier gets the win. The Garagistic BMW E36 advances on. Alex Halovnia, the Chepa Racing Toyota GT86 on GT Radials, is knocked out. We're officially halfway through our Rockstar Energy Top 32. Already in Gucci, Odi, Taguchi, Olsen, talking about Simon Olsen, Matt Field, Jonathan Castro, Chris Forsberg, and Rome Charpentier. Again, the big news if you're just tuning in, our current points leader, back-to-back and three-time champion, Frederick Osbo, knocked out in the first battle of the Rockstar Energy Drink Top 32. That is massive news and repercussions. Look at that, Castro and Jeff. Jeff's always got a great attitude, man. I love Jeff Jones, the Evil AutoWorks vehicle. Again, his shop, he lives in Southern California, shop out in Redlands, California. And look at this. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, this is what I'm
you love
talking
to
about.
see that, dude.
And it even feels better because both of the drivers did a good job.
Yep.
And, Jeff Jones did an awesome job, and it was just that Castro, did a little bit better.
Yep.
And
Refined.
I'm talking about very, very little. So Jeff should be, proud of his battle that he had. Even though it's 32, that could have been like a, semifinal or final battle because both the drivers did a great job.
I'm the cheese, you're the wine, I stay stinky while you get fine. We're talking about getting refined. When we come back here to the Crazy 8 track, that is E-Town, the iconic track, playing host to round 4 of the Formula Jet Pro Championship. When we come back, we'll round out the Rockstar Top 32. Don't go anywhere.
Made in Japan. Breed.
Passionate about a life in racing? Circle track, drag racing, drifting, or Monster Jam. Find it all at the University of Northwestern Ohio.
If you want to get everything you need to know about Monster Jam, about motorsports, you got to go to UNOH.
It's been the best opportunity I've ever taken. I've gotten so many opportunities, so many different connections.
You build every basic skill that you need to be able to work in racing and get your foot in the door.
See where your future can take you with a high-performance motorsports degree from the University of Northwestern Ohio.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
The championship.
I've won the championship twice now. I think we can do it again.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Your winner at round one. Look at Osmo. He's a magician. Here we go. Rain or shine, these guys are down for a good time. You can't count anybody out.
Everybody's really pushing the envelope. One mistake, and that's it.
Oh my goodness.
What did I do wrong? I don't get it.
So it's all about attrition here in St. Louis.
Oh!
We're in the playoffs, man. We are fighting for it tooth and nail. And Osmo goes hard. Matt Field, the guy to beat.
We got 20 seconds to shine. We can't make any mistakes. If you do, you're out.
It's going to be coming down to Irwindale, kids.
Is Matt feeling the pressure? Absolutely.
The championship is on the line. Ryan Turk, he says, hold my rock star, homeboy, let me show you something. Matt Field is out. Huge repercussions here. Your winner, Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Osbo! What an amazing ending to a 2022 season. Look at this beautiful backdrop. I mean, that looks like the Toy Story clouds, right? And Andy's wallpaper in his room, right? It's you got a friend in me. Robbie, you got a friend in me, buddy. It is a beautiful view. And fortunately, we're up in AC, man. It's a lot cooler than it is down there in the stands.
Sorry,
Thank you for our fans enduring the heat, but umbrellas are out. Again, the Canadians, the DMCC boys, make sure to reapply that sunscreen, bud. Want to make sure you're not a walking lobster around here. But you can see the stands are filling up. We do have a halftime break. I'm going to be down in the K&N booth on the podium. I got some drivers that are joining me over there, so if you're in the stands, come join me over there. Got some homies that are joining me over there talking about Forsberg's going to be over there. Matt Field, Reeder, Power, Jeff Jones, and Cole Richards, our winner last night, over the K&N booth. All right, Ryan Turk, his Rockstar energy drink, Toyota teammate, knocked out early. So Ryan Turk coming into this round of competition as far as points, he's sitting in 10th. He needs a victory. He's got his wife, Shanny Pants. Shannon's in the building. His son, Roman, who just turned 1 just a little bit ago. He's about, I think he's 14, 15 months about. So, and then again, another dad talking about Kyle the Menace Mohan. Kyle Mohan, that Renewable Lubricants, Mazda Tricks, RX-8. And taking a look at Mohan, he's all the way down there in 35th, but would love to play spoiler here, going against Ryan Turk. Now, Turk qualified second. He had a 92 and was bested by his teammate, Frederick Osbo. But Ryan Turk gets a clean air in that Rain-X Toyota GR Corolla. Nitto tire, uses all the course, uses that edge of the course, salvages him, get onto the paint, and there he does it once again. Thing looks like a bullfrog ready to pounce. Again, that hot hatchback. Boom, right past that inside clip. Really good precision driving by Ryan Turk, filling all that last outside zone. I mean, that was masterclass right there. That is a 92 run, maybe even better if he's independently out there. Mohan kind of struggling to hang with Ryan Turk.
So since the turns are long, I would have to say the outside zone 2 area going to the transition to the outside zone 3 areas are long. the lead car, the positioning of the lead car is going to be very major here. And as you see these two drivers driving through the track, Ryan Turk in the lead position, pretty much a perfect lead run. And looks like Kyle Mohan actually doing a good job trying to keep up, staying close, but he is not as deep in angle and does run a shallower line throughout the whole, most of the outside zone 2, and definitely shallower in angle. That's something that's very easy to see and compare to. If we have a drone footage from up top, it'll be more obvious, but we're gonna have to see now how much angle Kyle Mohan could give, and if he can better Ryan Turk's lead run in the lead position.
Let's see what we got. Again, Kyle Mohan, the menace out front. Ryan Turk. Gotta be chasing him down. Like I said, his Toyota Rockstar teammate knocked out. Can he fly that Rockstar flag? Kyle Mohan in that first outside zone. He feels all of it. Kind of little abrupt and then kind of shoots out. That allows Ryan Turk good proximity. Kyle Mohan feeling all that second outside zone. Good angle from him. And Ryan Turk chasing him down. You can see kind of wavering there, just pedaling back. Just making sure he has that composure. Kyle Mohan feels it. Ryan Turk dropping in. So again, good lead run by Kyle Mohan. You could see just the lunging of Ryan Turk. Seemed like he is a little more overpowering of Mohan.
And you know, Kyle did a great job in the lead position, and normally that would have been maybe an advantage towards the other driver because he did a good job in the lead position. But we're talking, you know, the man who qualified second, his lead run was pretty flawless there in the lead position. And in the chase position, Ryan Turk does match the angle a little bit better and does get a little bit closer than Kyle Mohan and keeps the pressure on at the outside zone 3 area as well. Here from the drone footage here, we have Kyle misses outside zone 2 a little bit in the beginning, kind of leaves a little early. I'm sorry, not leaving early, but leaves a little bit space in the middle part of the outside zone 2, and right behind him is Ryan Turk. A little bit better matching the angle and getting a little closer than when Kyle was chasing.
All right. Matt Sopa, who had the pleasure of announcing with the Pro Spec, and he is down there on the line, ready to give the verdict, and it's gonna be sliding left for Turk or right for Mohan. It's unanimous. Ryan Turk in that Rockstar energy drink, Toyota GR Corolla, gets the win, making his son Roman proud and his wife Shannon in the building. Kyle Mohan exits stage right.
Yeah, so I would have to say, you know, Kyle's lead, I would say definitely a lot better than his qualifying run. So this is where you see when you have only 2 runs to qualify, or maybe 1.5, because depending on where you qualify in the knockout.
Incomplete or something, right?
Yeah, or he did. Yeah, he got a lower score then, but his lead run right here that he did against Ryan Turk would have been a lot better in score.
All right, Mr. Mohan is Pops saying, hey, thanks. Again, the spotter's just to our right, giving some insight, and my man's looking cool as ice. What's up, bro? You want a little pit viper action? Who's his favorite driver? Look at this guy. Yeah, that's you, bro. Hey, thumbs up. Cooler than a cucumber. Colder than a polar bear's toenails. Brandon Sorensen, Ryan Literal. Brandon Sorensen, the rising star. He's soaring like Sorensen. Coincidentally sponsored by Air Force, the pedal commander, BMW. Looks like Ryan Literal hits the cone, but again, it's all about the lead car. And here comes Ryan Literal, that power stop, brakes. Brandon Sorensen airing it out. That was a long hang into that first outside zone, but look at Ryan Literal. He looks like he tempers it back, that collab vehicle. Look at Literal. This is the best I've seen the RB flag being flown. This is great for Ryan Literal. Again, his composure there. He really could have gotten the side of Brandon Sorensen. Let's run it back. I want to see.
Wow, that was,
Robbie, why were you aghast?
Yeah, that was Sorensen did go in deep and did fill outside zone 2, but he did throw a lot of angle, and I would have to say that's kind of a loss of pace for the lead vehicle. And I'd have to say that Ryan Literal, really good job in the chase where he did avoid any contact or anything, because that was kind of a slowdown after the initiation. It looked like he kind of overcooked it, did wash out a little bit. He tried to save it by giving it a lot of angle. But like you said, you know, Ryan Literal keeping the pressure on throughout the track in the chase position. Now I'm eager to see what's going to happen now when they switch places.
Yeah, that was really precarious. And again, the composure that Ryan Literal had, Brandon almost throwing up a roadblock. But again, let's take a look. So, all right, Ryan Literal now out front. That power stop brakes. GT Radial S15. Get running that RB chassis, or RB engine. Whoa! It looks like Literal shut it down. So similar. Oh no, so I will tell you what is going on.
And something happened.
Literal on initiation.
Literal score, yeah, I mean.
Brandon doesn't need to finish it out. If the lead car makes a mistake, just for clarification, Robbie. So if the lead car makes a mistake to that severity, the chase car shuts it down. You can't go anywhere. Throws up a roadblock, literally. So by comparison, you know, Brandon, yeah, he aired it out. Ryan did a good job kind of compromising and you know, adapting to that big max angle by Brandon. But when Ryan Literal throws it down, he corrected, he straightened out. So I will tell you, Literal, his mistake might even be more massive than Brandon Sorensen.
Now we do have to discuss and look at the replays right here. Ryan Literal, car shuts off, stops drifting, so something must have happened to his vehicle. And Sorensen almost, I think, got into the back of Ryan Literal's car. Now that's that, and that's going to be an incomplete for the lead vehicle. Now we have to look back at what happened earlier to make sure that Sorensen didn't incomplete in the lead position, because that might have been an unchaseable lead run. So we're going to have to check out some replays here.
You know, and I you know, talking through this, what's interesting here is Brandon, with that max angle, Ryan adapted to it really well. But if he would have stopped, would that have favored him? That's where it gets interesting here, right? So Ryan Literal, his lead run, obviously just, he came to a halt. This gets really sketchy, really interesting, and again, definitely deserves a dialogue. All right, let's take a look at that first lap. So here's Brandon Sorensen on initiation. You see maxing out the angle. Is Robbie, I know you're over there talking to your judges. Is that deemed an incomplete, even though Ryan Literal did a good job adapting to it? I will say, hats off to Ryan Literal, but it's almost like they both made mistakes on the initiation. Ryan's a little, obviously more severe because he came to a halt, but Brandon's throwing up a roadblock, but still continues on. But hey, Ryan adapted, but does he get held back because of that?
Yeah, it's going to look like, I think it's going to look like a lot, you know, all of us are going to look at it, because one was maybe a mechanical issue, the other one was a mistake that the driver made. Now, Sorensen in the lead position, he does throw too much angle, and I'm pretty sure that if Literal was any closer and if he was right on his door, there would have been contact, and I think all of us are going to see that as incomplete, because that was pretty much an unchaseable lead. And, you know, we do like to see angle at entry, but the beginning, not towards the end where he kind of washed out. He almost went off course. He saved it. And also, it wasn't, you know, we don't, you know, a lot of people do backwards entries, and that's cool to see, but at a competition, we do have cars that are chasing. Flow. Yeah, we have to.
It has to flow.
If that was a good pace of a lead run where there was high angle from the beginning to the end and he made it, we have no problem. But that looked like he threw it in and gave it more angle as he was going through outside zone 1, washed out a little bit and held the angle and almost got lucky in not spinning out, and pretty much Ryan Literal adapted to it because he did have a little bit of space at the entry. So, yeah, we're going to have to go one more time because both the lead drivers didn't complete their lead runs.
All right, there you go. So, again, both of them not completing their lead runs, or they did, but the severity, again, you got to flow. Brandon Sorensen threw up what I would call a roadblock, but Ryan Literal, hats off to him. He did adapt, but, again, those are fairly similar.
Yeah,
so,
I think it just looks like it because Ryan Literal adapted to it. But if any car was closer, and like let's say if there was contact or if the chase car corrected and straightened, we would have to put it on the lead car.
All right, so warming up some tires. Let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel for a quick little conversation with Jonathan Castro.
In the top 16, grateful for that, and the team is making some adjustments. What's happening down here?
You call it adjustments, but yeah, we're changing the clutch right now. We feel a little bit off and the battle with Jeff Jones, also the spark plug. So making some adjustments because we know we need to be 100%. We have to be perfect. Now we're going to go against Mansfield, but I would say that my battle with Jeff Jones was awesome. Great times. He just came like smiling, like the smile was like on his bald head. It was just like, oh my God, that was awesome. This is what drifting all about. This is what you guys wanted to see. To us battle 100%, no games, no nothing, and just the best man win. That's it.
Okay. Jonathan, thank you so much, and of course, come down, get your Dominican finest hat. Oh, you like it? Looks good. I thought so. Yeah, guys.
I don't know, Lorette. I don't know. That's a little. You know. I don't know. Are you changing hats?
Some bias.
Are you changing?
I know.
Are you changing hats at every pit now? You're just collecting hats.
Ooh, that's a new game. I might be doing that.
And look, and Castro's giving you lunch. Okay, now she's getting pupusas. Oh my God, jeez. Okay, now Castro's buying his way into Lorette's heart. Okay. Yeah, we're just up here schlepping in our AC booth. No big deal. I'm just kidding. All right, so again, all joking aside, thank you, Lorette, for some great insight. And again, yeah, we saw that Jeff Jones having a great smile on his face. Guess what? The machine is back. James the Machine Dean, 3-time champion in that AutoZone Ford Mustang. Shut her down. That's going to be a restart for James the Machine Dean going against Nick Novak. So again, 3-time champion James Dean joining the RTR camp. So again, 3 Mustangs being campaigned in the RTR team. So James Dean, Chelsea DeNova, they are doing the entirety of the 8 rounds of competition. The 3rd Ford Mustang is split season between 4 rounds of Von Gittin Jr., 4 rounds of Adam LZ. This round is Adam LZ. I know he's got some Sally's Pizza coming his way from my man Chris, and he's going to be chomping on some pizza. Chelsea DeNova will be. I don't know if you've seen the wheel covers. They have pizza ones. They got 3-leaf clovers. They got different wheels. Yeah, they're having a lot of fun with those discs. Yeah. All right, so Nick Novak is a big battle here. Now, keep in mind, James Dean, we haven't seen him. Did we see him on the podium? I'm trying to recall. But he's currently 4th in points. So, again, here we go. That AutoZone Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Nick Novak applying the pressure there. Chasing him down. Does not get into that first outside zone, but look at Novak. Oh, he taps the wall. Keeping it cool and keeps it consistent, but has to fight back. James Dean, look at that. Again, talking about those front wheels being settled, those RTR arrows, and now into that final outside zone. The first ever right-hand drive 2024 Ford Mustang. Look at that, set it and forget it. Let's take a look at it again. Break it down, Nishida.
All right, so as you said, James Dean, the 3-time FD champion, he does a very smooth run. Right behind him, there was a little mistake going into outside zone 1 by Novak, and also going to outside zone 2 where he does end up in the wall, but he does get right back into formation where he's supposed to. The rest of the track, he does a good job chasing, but like you said, he's chasing down a champion in the lead position. James Dean does merely a perfect run in the lead position where it's going to be easier for the driver because, instead of a tricky run, I think when the driver is on the outside line running a lot of angle, it's a lot easier to run because all you have to do is give it your all. But it does look like Novak made a few mistakes, and now Novak's going to have to lead, and the champion's going to give chase.
Yeah, the champ is in the building. 3-time champ. There are only 3 in the 19 previous championships. As we are celebrating 20 years in the world. In the world, yeah, in the world. So again, James Dean, Frederick Osbo most recently, and then Christopher Forsberg. So 3-time champions. They're all here in the building. Who's going to win here in E-Town? Who's going to win the championship overall? It's decided October. Irwindale, the House of Drift, as James Dean will be chasing down Nick Novak. Got a sweet Nick Novak koozie earlier. Bright pink. It's pretty dope. It's not subtle if you're drinking a beer in it. It's bright pink, like you're drinking.
His car is bright, but
he's a mellow dude.
Person, he's super chill. Like, he's like really, really quiet.
Yeah. All right, well, he's not quite on the track. Nick Novak. Look at Nick Novak getting into zone 1. Nice job there into that zone 1 and zone 2. Hopefully doesn't get into the wall once again. He does not. James Dean, you can see dialing it in. Looks like, again, we were talking about that graphic earlier. Would like to see him mimic that angle. Looks like he's nosing in, but James Dean powers into that last outside zone. Nick Novak, great job. A lot more refined out front. You can see him filling all the zones, doing exactly what he needed to do out front.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers come into top 32 and they do a better job in their lead position than their qualify run. And this might be a good example because Novak pretty much laying down a solid lead run in front of James Dean, and James Dean getting a little left behind before the outside zone 2. But he does catch right back up, like you said. Doesn't match the angle as much, but keeps the proximity and the pressure on the lead driver. So I'd have to say Novak did a really great job in the lead position, but you do have to remember what he did in the chase position. There was a major mistake that he made chasing down James Dean.
All right, slide him left for James Dean or right for Nick Novak, and James Dean advances on. Again, currently 4th in points in that all-new AutoZone Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Dean advances on. All right, let's throw it down to Lorette Nickel. See if she's got a new hat on. Did you get an RCP hat yet, Lorette?
Someone's so mad that he didn't get free swag, but I have the FD hat on. Oh, there's a gift coming up to you, Jared, so be on the lookout.
Pizza?
Rome Charpentier, congratulations. We're going to see him moving forward. And you had quite an adventure in the burnout box.
Yes, and even in practice in the morning. So we had 2 collisions. So the left front is bent about 3 or 4 inches, shock tower in, touching alternator. Right rear is bent, just towed in a little bit. We didn't have time to fix that. And then in the burnout box, we lost a cylinder. So we're on 7 cylinders. The car's a little wonky, and I'm like, come on, man, like just keep it together. Like I wanted to put the best line down I possibly could so that, you know, both of us could make it through the track and make it around. And yeah, we just pulled up there. We were down on cylinder, coming out of the burnout box, the car died. So I was like cranking it, trying to get it fired back up. We got it started back up, and we just turned the boost up and hope for the best on 7 holes.
So last year, you also had a lot of success here, got that 2nd place. How do you keep that momentum going? Is there anything that can happen for that this year?
As far as momentum, we try not to think about all the scenarios from last year. We just try and keep pushing forward as if a fresh, brand new build, brand new go, and brand new day. So that was the start, and we feel really confident. We're going to try and get all 8 cylinders back up and going, bend the car out as much as we can, and get it lined up for the next battle.
Okay, Rome, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much. And these are the podium. This is the podium last year. Travis Reeder, RCP got 2nd. Chelsea Denofa got 3rd. And again, Lorette, I don't know if you're listening here. I have a massive head, so a lot of those hats won't even fit me. So just keep them. It's totally fine. I just got to razz you a little bit. Again, Rome, where are the gifts? You know, you got to gift Lorette something.
Yes.
All right, here we go. And this is the one more time battle. Again, both of them had mistakes on outside zone 1, Robbie. Let's clean it up. Let's tidy up. Let's get that flow.
About the earlier battle.
Brandon Sorensen and Brian Literal. All right, wash, rinse, repeat. Shake them up, shake them up, shake them up, shake them. Here we go. Brandon Sorensen, Air Force. Pedal Commander, BMW, Literal. Shuts her down. Brandon Sorensen does need to complete the entirety of the run to have the advantage. Literal going through the paces, but that is Formula Drive straight, not Formula Drift. So there it is, Brandon Sorensen with the advantage.
Yeah, I'm going to start using that. Formula Drive straight.
That's an old school thing. I used to say that back in the day. So.
Yeah, as you guys already saw, you know, something's obviously not right in Ryan Literal's vehicle. He does shut it down after the initiation. He tries, but he cannot keep the car in drift. And in the lead position, Sorensen does a good job leading Ryan Literal, does fill the outside zones, and does what he's supposed to do in the lead position and finishes off. So he does an incomplete in the lead position, and that's 1 run in the books for him. And now we're going to have to see what's going to happen, if Ryan Literal is going to be able to pull up back to the start line or not, because he's going to have to lead and Sorensen's going to have to give chase.
All right, Literal looks like he's making his way back to the pits. He's going to call his NGK competition timeout, I have to assume.
Oh, he's out.
Oh, he's out.
Looks like he's out, yeah.
Just throat chop. Literal's done. Brandon Sorensen going to do a bye. So unfortunately for Ryan Literal, that power stop breaks. S15. Look at Rome. He's showing the shock towers, push back, hitting the alternator, but he's still smiling. It's like the Joker.
I'd be mad.
Yeah, he's like, this is great. I got 7 cylinders. My shock tower's pushed in. The back right corner's bashed in, but everything's fine.
Yeah.
Pets' heads are falling off.
You know, that's the attitude you have to have out here, because I mean, anything could happen to you any minute. You know, things could be all nice and
hunky-dory.
beautiful. Yeah, then next thing you know, something could be wrong. something could go wrong any minute.
Yep.
But having that positive attitude is always, I think that's good for anything.
Got to roll with the punches.
Yep.
You got to roll with the punches. Going into this, and that's what I really love about this sport is anybody can win. So, all right, let's lay back and listen to Brandon Sorensen, the young buck from Las Vegas, United States Air Force Pedal Commander, BMW. Woo!
All right here.
Just lay out, listen, bro. Relax. And there it is. Brandon Sorensen gets the victory. Ryan Littoral has to retire a DNF.
Yeah, but he finished. He went through the finish line and he spun. No, just kidding. No, that was a good job by Sorensen. He came back and, obviously a lot of these drivers refined their mistakes that they made in their earlier runs and put down something more solid. Hopefully Ryan Littoral could figure out the problem in his vehicle, and looking forward to seeing him in the next round.
All right, moving on to our next battle. We are seeing Travis Reeder and Alec Robbins. So Travis Reeder from the Pacific Northwest and the BMW, Alec Robbins in his Nissan 370Z. And again, Robbins picking up a new sponsor here this year. So want to give credit where credit is due. It's powered by Holley EFI. There's Alec Robbins. Again, Robbins in.
And Reeder winning the round last year.
Yep, Reeder got the win here in New Jersey. And Robbins in the self-made status.co 350Z, powered by Holley EFI. Travis Reeder will lead. He's in the Nicholas GT Radial BMW. Reeder qualifying 10th, Robbins qualifying 23rd. Kenny, he made claims. He says, let's do it again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the positive attitude and the confidence you have to have to make it up to the podium. So it won't happen without that. So let's see if either of these drivers could better each other.
All right, two LS-powered machines as Reeder goes in that outside zone one. Big angle from Reeder. Robbins, the non-stop tuning again. Self-made status into that second outside zone. Nice, both drivers very deep. Robbins mimicking that angle. That was a good example of mimicking the angle and also getting deep in the outside zone. Reeder using all of the course, almost getting into that wall and almost bouncing off the Nissan Z of Robbins.
Wow, most of these cars are perfect. They're pretty much perfect in the lead run, so it's really now how well they can chase. But right here, Reeder obviously running the outside line, doing a good job at outside zone 1 and 2. And as you were saying, compared to some of these other drivers, it looks like Robbins is on the same line and matching the angle as the lead driver. So that's something really hard to do because you're pretty much not making any compromises in the chase position. So I would have to say good job by both the drivers. If Robbins would have filled outside zone 1 a little bit more in the chase position, that would have been better. But I'm just being picky. So the lead position, Travis Reeder does a great job, and in the chase, Robbins does a great job as well. So now we're gonna have to see them switch places.
All right, let's see Robbins out front. Travis Reeder chasing him down. I know Biddy's over there watching Travis Reeder. I did work done under the hood of Reeder. Here goes Robbins initiating non-stop tuning against self-made status. .co into that second outside zone. Reeder maybe giving a little too much room. Now reels him in. Robbins filling all that. Look at that. Again, good proximity. I liked how Robbins was mimicking the angle, but Reeder, really good proximity. Transitioning into that last outside zone goes Robbins. And very fluid. Like you said, these guys in 32, they know they need to put down good lead runs. And like you said, better than the qualifying. Robbins was all the way down in 23rd. The cutoff was 20,
that wasn't a 23rd lead run right there. That was a lot better.
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead and we're going to have to compare lead to lead. Robbins does a good job, but he does leave a little bit of space on the outside zone 1 area and the first half outside zone 2. Reeder doesn't match the angle as much, but like you said, there is a lot of there's proximity there. He gets really close, so we're gonna have to see who did better in the lead position and the chase position and see how heavily we're gonna have to deem both of the drivers. Is it gonna be Robbins or Reeder? Or one more time, I'm not sure, because very close one again. This is we're going to see a lot of close battles throughout the day today. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and just as it advances on further and further, refinement is just the buzzword today. Just keeps coming up.
The refining, the key to success at this track especially may be the lead run, because it's easier to compare, because the chase, it looks like both the drivers are doing a good job keeping the pressure on.
Here we go. Travis Reeder gets the win, and it is unanimous. Unfortunately, Alec Robbins, self-made status.co, knocked out. So we will see Robbins in St. Louis, and we've seen him do some great things there. I believe he got #1 qualifier in St. Louis, if I'm not mistaken. It was last year or 2 years ago. But Reeder, so moving on to the next quadrant, you can see filling it in. Gucci, Bakshis, Taguchi, Olsen, Field versus Castro, Forsberg versus RCP, Ryan Turk versus Brandon Sorensen getting that victory. James the Machine Dean versus Travis Reeder.
Yeah, I mean, coming from, winning the event last year, Reeder probably has this track down.
Yeah.
And, looking to see how he's going to do.
All right, Battle of the Beamers, here we go. So Dylan Hughes, he's got the 2J. He's fine. Travis Reeder, a great friend of him, originally from Pacific Northwest. Dylan now living in Southern California. And then the LS-powered BMW of Trenton Beecham. This car's really suiting him well. He campaigned an LS-powered Mustang for multiple years, but this vehicle just seems to be suiting him well. He's got the power, and again, that chassis just seems to be working out. So again, two very different builds, two very different drivers. Again, Dylan Hughes, winner in Orlando last year in the very, very wet conditions. That Permatex BMW. Beecham maybe a little too aggressive. You see him kind of overshoot Travis Reeder, or excuse me, not Travis Reeder, Dylan Hughes, my bad. And again, a lot of BMWs, a lot of BMW boys. And again, the GT radio's going around here for Dylan the Dozer Hughes, the Permatex BMW. And into that final outside zone, Trenton Beecham. Trying to, again, he came on maybe a little too hot in that Clonex Nexon tire BMW. Let's take a look. Like to get the overhead view. There it is.
Yeah, right here. Dylan does a good job filling outside zone 1. It looked like Beecham gave attack a little bit too early on and dived in a little bit too much at outside zone 1, where he upset the vehicle, and that kind of messed him up going to the transition into outside zone 2, and the rest is history, because as you see, he cannot close the proximity. He kind of messed himself up at the outside zone 1, and the beginning of the track is really important, because that kind of sets the pace of the driver, and he kind of messed that up at the outside zone 1 area. So, and on the other hand, Hughes does a great job in the lead position. Like I said, a lot of these drivers are almost driving these the lead runs perfectly. Now we're going to have to see how well he can chase down Beecham.
Yeah, I think Beecham's going to do, as you said, to your point, going to do better up there, up front. And, you saw him, again, as to repeat it, got thrown off, but now he's going to run a much more fluid line. You can see him using all the course. Does exceed him, but just that back left. So, big angle from Trent Beecham. Can he hold on to that? Looks like it rips up. Look at Dylan Hughes. Good composure for him. The Forge Stars going around. It looks like he's almost going to tap his door. He does back out. Look at Beecham, very aggressive in that lead position. And I think he's just trying to give, again, that X factor.
Yeah, I mean, he's really thrown down in the lead position. There was one area where it did come back and bite him, because he was very, very aggressive. But let's go ahead and check out the replay right here. Nice job by the wall, filling the outside zone 1, but after the transition at the outside zone 2, comes a little short on line, has to fix himself, get back onto the line where he cannot carry himself all the way out to the outside zone 2 area. While we're doing all this, Dylan keeping the pressure on, chasing down Beecham. Not as close, but gets close enough. So we're going to have to compare that, because it looks like Beecham does make a mistake in both lead and chase position.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, Dylan still keeping the pressure, applying the pressure right there by the inside clip, and doesn't overdo it, but doesn't hang back too much either.
Taking a look at the BMWs, the lid is off, throwing up the horns there is Dylan the Dozer Hughes. Banging on the door, maybe he's feeling confident. Slide him left for Hughes or slide him right for Beecham. And it looks like the Permatex BMW gets the win. Dylan the Dozer Hughes moves on. Trenton Beecham, just a little too many mistakes right there for Beecham, but would love to see him throw down in St. Louis. A good effort by Trenton Beecham. 3 more battles left, but Lorette, what do you got cooking? Where's your gear? What do you got now?
I don't have any new gear, but James Dean, first time here in New Jersey, and you're still getting comfortable with the car. It's an easy track, but you're still learning the laps.
Yeah, so in theory, this is a very easy track, but what I found yesterday, we missed quite a bit of practice, and today we're chasing. So you really need to do quite a few laps to know when you're going to pop through the smoke. So I'm still messing up my timing just a bit. I know I can improve there. And yeah, I'm in top 16. I'm happy with that. The team worked really hard because I made contact with Dean Carney in practice, and we bent the steering rack. So yeah, I was just driving with my friend from back in Ireland, and of course we're going to push too hard, and I pushed way too hard. Hit him, climbed up the side of his car, bent the steering rack, kept the team busy, but they got it fixed, new rack in, got back out there, everything felt fine, and it's now nice to have the confidence knowing that the car is ready for our top 16 battle.
Yeah, and talk about that confidence, because we're now at round 4. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with comfort level?
I would say, I'd love to say 11, but I would say, honestly, 8. Yeah, about 8. But I know throughout, it was the same in Orlando, and when it came to it, when I had to battle Chelsea, I was like, right, we need to go, and you have to push yourself. So I was already talking to my spotter, and I'm like, right, before our next battle, if I need to chase hard, tell me I need to chase hard, and pump me up, and I'll go for it. So let's hope it works out, and we put on a great show for the people watching, and yeah, have a good evening.
James, thank you very much. Jared?
Yeah, and I love the honesty of James Dean. I'd love to say 11, but 8. I would even say, 7, 7.5, passing. And I don't know. James is very honest. I mean, he drives a variety of vehicles. Here he is campaigning a Mustang here in Formula Drift for Vaughn Gittin Jr. Everybody's like, is Vaughn here? I said, no, man, he's kicking it home with his wife and his kids. If he was here,
he'd be driving.
Exactly, yeah. That's what he said. He said that last week when we were at Nitro Cross. I was out there with him, and he was racing Ultra 4 with Lauren Healy, the Fun Haver team. He's like, no, dude, if I was in Jersey, I would be running. So I'm just going to watch the boys from home and cheer them on. So he's going to support him. So 3 more battles left, man. Joao Barrion versus Jonathan Hurst, the Mr. Cool BMW, and again, the Barbaros Corvette. That was Joao Barrion from Brazil, another Brazilian driver. Also, Daniel Stuckey, Chelsea Denofa, the last RTR vehicle. Oh, no, excuse me. 2 RTR vehicles. Yep. Adam LZ and Mike Power will be the final battle. So 3 more battles left. Who's moving on to the Royal Purple Top 16? Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. Right now, Joao Barrion, he will lead, qualifying 14th. Jonathan Hurst qualifying 19th. Fairly equally matched battle. Joao Barrion, and that will be a restart.
Yeah, I'd say this is going to be something to watch as well, because it seems like both of the drivers are wild. And Jonathan Hurst, he was 4th in Long Beach, and I think he's gaining traction with what he's doing right now in Formula Drift, and it's great. Joao Barrion, been in the series for a couple years, but finally kind of getting the hang of it, and looked like he was getting a lot of car trouble, but seems like the car's put together good. Seems like he's with a good team. And yeah, both these drivers, I wouldn't even know who's going to win and move on.
Yeah, I love the way Jonathan Hurst is driving. It seems that, I loved his candid interview with Jacob and the Outer Zone podcast. There's some great interviews. If you want some great insight, Jacob, the signature teal beanie, he's asking some great questions, some great insight, good, just from an educated standpoint as well as kind of a layman's term. So remember, we got our halftime parties. I'm going to be over at the K&N booth, myself and other drivers, and I got a list from my boy Chris Mady.
And you look good.
You act surprised that I look good. I'm right here, bro. I can hear you. Look at that photo.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Oh,
yeah.
See? Relax, dude. I'm married. Relax. Okay, so again, 5:15, I'm going to be down there at the podium. I'm going to have Chris Forsberg, Matt Field, Travis Reeder, Mike Power, Jeff Jones, and our Prospect winner last night, Cole Richards, the 19-year-old. So we're going to be wrapping out over there on the podium. If you want some high fives and handshakes, that's going down at 5:15. So join us over there. All right, let's restart them. Re-rack them, track them, stack them. Don't lack them. Talking about the angle. Joao Barrion, Monster Energy. Corvette initiates in that first outside zone. We got a clean start here. Jonathan Hurst, the Mr. Cool Vitor BMW. Look at the proximity there. Drops into formation, almost rubber on rubber. Like you said, Jonathan Hurst is turning it up. The cash racing, cash money. All I want to do, boom, boom. Oh, boy! Hurst, he went two-wheel motion. That was a big dig.
Yeah, that was a huge.
Holy cow. Let's run that one back. Little Brown Cloud, that is a tornado. The Pride of Paducah putting some dirt on it.
Yeah.
Yo!
And, you know, the James Dean interview we had, too, he was talking about the smoke because it's dry, and chasing these cars is probably really hard to see after the transition going from outside zone 2 to 3. Joao not filling the outside zone 2, but right here going through the transition going to the outside zone 3, that was a major mistake that Hurst made in the chase position. He went a little bit too driver's left and went a little too wide, did get into the dirt. He almost had to straighten out. I wouldn't say that was a full straight, but that was a huge correction that he had to do in the chase position. So
that initial angle looked, I will say, a lot more violent than it did that other. Yeah. That first angle, kind of him coming towards us, that looked like that front left, that front right, excuse me, definitely
like
lifted.
Wheelie, yeah.
Looked like he was going to go on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
And look at that, shooting flames. If you haven't been over to the Toyota booth, they got some really cool. You can get Lego version of all the drivers. You got Gucci, you got Osbo. I got little Ryan Turk and Freddie. And Frederick comes with a hammer and a championship trophy.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Well,
all right.
I'm like trying to add it. I was like, why does he have a hammer and a trophy? Okay, I get it.
Yeah. A little slow. Wow.
Yeah.
You are smart. Kind of like you. Oh, you look good, Robbie. Jeez, dude.
Still have jet lag.
Okay. Blame it on the jet lag. Okay. Yeah. What? All right. Take a look at this. The Mr. Cool. Oh, look at the sparks being thrown. That was gnarly. All right, everybody grab a knee over here. Taking a look, the track being cleaned up. You can see all the tire debris, all the dust. And again, Jonathan Hurst with a very aggressive off course. And that was not caused by Joao Barillon in that lead position.
No.
And, you know, you can see just, the degree.
Yeah, so looking at the chase position, you know, we would have to see if he was correcting and, you know, how much he had to correct after he came out of the dirt. But we're facing a different problem right now because the Hurst going off track, that wasn't really caused by the lead position where Joao Barillon just made his run and finished it. And as you see from the drone's view, Jonathan Hurst pretty much goes off course on his own. And it looks like, oh, you know, actually that's pretty much an incomplete anyways, but it looks like he debeated, and I heard that he debeated after he went off course. And pretty much he went and debeated, and that was pretty much all on his own because he did go off track on his own, not caused by the lead driver, and pretty much he debeated, so that might be it for him. Yeah,
I know you as a judge, Robbie, Chris Yule, Brian Egger, and then driving steward, talking to Ryan Lontaine and Pat Gentili. He's up here. He's telling us that Jonathan Hurst did debead, and with him, you know, it not being an incident, and neither of them, you know, basically, you guys as judges have to assess why did he debead. Well, he debeaded under his own power, under his own accord, not anything that Joao did. So with him debeading, and this rule has been created over the years because of people running low tire pressure, debeading because of that. This unfortunately he goes off course. So we are finding out again, trying to get everything off course. And when we come back, we're going to find out that unfortunately Jonathan Hurst will have to retire, and Joao Barillon will take a bye run, and he advances on because Jonathan Hurst debead. So we'll take a short break. We'll take a trick tip here, and we'll be right back.
I'm Dylan Hughes, this is your BC Racing Clip Tip. I'm standing here at Outer Zone 2 here at E-Town Raceway for round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. I chose this as probably one of the most important places on the track because there's going to be a lot of drama happening here. If you're in the lead position and you come up here and you miss this wall or miss this zone, the judge is going to hold it up against you massively. And same thing in the chase position. This is your chance to dive through the smoke, get up on somebody's door, and really leave that impactful run here for the judges. So a lot of drama is going to be going down here. Hopefully we don't have another situation like what happened to Ryan Turk last year where somebody like lawn darted in the side of him. Pretty crazy stuff going on. So keep an eye on this zone right here. This is going to be nuts. This is your BC Racing Clip Tip. I'm Dylan Hughes. Catch you guys later.
All right, here we are. Let's lay out and listen. Joao Barillon with his bye run. So Joao Barillon advances on, not the way you want to get it, but Joao will take it. Unfortunately, Jonathan Hurst, that Mr. Cool BMW, who is definitely a fierce competitor, just bit off more than he can chew, or the Vitor tire could take. Going into that dirt, D beats it. So Joao Barillon taking his bye run, and only 2 battles left. Let's lay out and listen. Joao Barillon with the bye run. And here we are, Daniel Stuckey, Chelsea Denofa. I'm having some Sally's Pizza up here in between some shots. And you know who loves pizza even more?
Yep.
Who?
This guy with the pizza wheel.
He's got pizza on his steering wheel. He's got pizza on his discs. I haven't seen him yet. I've only seen him tease him. I haven't seen him in competition, but Chelsea Denofa, we have pizza tattoos. Do you know that? Travis Reeder, Kyle Cross, and I, we got pizza tattoos in St. Louis. Yeah. But right now, we'll see what kind of tattoo Daniel Stuckey's going to have. Is he going to go through the pizza boy, Chelsea Denofa? Chelsea Denofa in the Pennzoil Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Daniel Stuckey, I'm telling you what, he has been driving very fiercely. He's been driving really, really well. Casey Cole last night put it down. Unfortunately, didn't advance on, didn't get on the podium, but still some great driving from his M-Spec teammate.
Yeah, this is another driver that I've been watching this year too, because he knows what he's doing. Very wild, and he does have the wow factor under him. So let's see. This is going to be a good battle because both the drivers are actually an exciting driver to see. So
yep,
looking forward to it.
All right, all right, all right. Be a lot cooler if you did. All right, here we go. Sending run 1. And look at this. Daniel Stuckey gets the clean air first, qualifying 6th compared to Chelsea Denofa's 27th. All right, here we go. Daniel Stuckey. He's got some confidence in his corner with those Vitor tires. Oh, boy. And look at that. Denofa throws it in aggressively as well. All right, here we go. Oh, Stuckey, he gets into the dirt now. He shreds that back bumper. Chelsea Denofa bouncing. Little lip of flapping. Looks like he's curling his lip with the hood coming up on his Pennzoil Mustang. Down to that final outside zone. Here comes Stuckey and Chelsea. You can see him just, looks like he is fighting, man. He is just whipping that wheel and getting that Mustang like a wild horse, man. Bucking Bronco.
The Stuckey looked really good on outside zone 1. And chasing him down, Denofa does a good job. But right here, going into outside zone 2, there's a little bit of a waiver, and then Stuckey, car gets upset, goes off course a little bit. Denofa does a good job mimicking the lead driver and pretty much adapts to what he had to do. Stuckey also not filling outside zone 3. I'm not sure if he has a car gripped up, maybe because he's going against Chelsea, but not a clean run by the number 6 qualifier that we had yesterday.
Yeah, you were saying that everybody's kind of leveling up and making a better qualifying run. Yeah, kind of flip-flop here for Stuckey.
Maybe they're pressuring himself. He's pressuring himself because he's going against Chelsea.
I mean, Chelsea, comes into this round of competition second in points. He won most recently in Orlando. He's definitely a fierce competitor. He drives to the umpty-ninth degree. He's one of those drivers, like if he detunes himself, he kind of just overcooks it or undercooks it, right? Exactly. So I think the case here for Chelsea is he just goes always to 11, and that's the best case scenario for him. So I'm expecting a really big initiation for him on outside zone 1. He's going to transition in, flick it in, fill all that outside zone 1. Boom, there he goes. So now Stuckey, look at this, getting left in that Nitto tire smoke and filling that second outside zone is Chelsea DeNova, and that's a clean execution there. Again, that hood flapping but not affecting him. Stuckey does get to his side. Again, not mimicking the exact angle, but Chelsea, really well done there. Precision on that final outside zone. So unfortunately, Stuckey comes out swinging, just swung and swung for the fences, and unfortunately...
Maybe that's because, he did try harder than usual. Maybe he pushed himself a little bit too much in the lead position. Now Chelsea, just like some of the other drivers, doing a perfect job in the lead position. Stuckey looks like he comes a little short on the line. Going from outside zone 1, transition to outside zone 2. Does get close in proximity, doesn't match the angle as much, but keeps it close. And does a good job at outside zone 3, chasing down Chelsea. But might not be good enough because of the mistakes that he did make in the lead position. And Chelsea pretty much putting down a almost perfect lead run in front of Stuckey. And giving Stuckey a chance to give him a good chase.
All right, if we get an outcome here, only one more battle left. Chelsea DeNova, Daniel Stuckey, slide him left for Stuckey, and the M-Spec vehicle, or right for the Pennzoil RTR Mustang Spec 5 FD of Chelsea DeNova gets the win. DeNova unanimously gets the win. So a few one more times earlier today. Again, the two with Odie and Higa. We got, all right, so one more battle left, and a driver that's very familiar with this track here at E-Town is Christopher Forsberg. He's with Lorette.
Jared, that's exactly right. And since 2003, he's been here. So one of the drivers that probably has the most experience at this Jersey track. But is there anything predictable?
I wouldn't say that there's anything too predictable other than the track really tightens up as it gets dark. And yes, I have been driving here since 2003, but not so much on the stadium. The stadium is brand new. Some of the local guys here, like Alex Jager, he's got an incredible amount of laps out here. But my history here at Englishtown goes way back to the very, very first day. And just hats off to Mike Knapp and the whole family here that built us this drift stadium. It's tight and it's wild, but it's putting on a heck of a show for everybody. So the biggest thing is just watching those track temps drop.
Right, absolutely. And the weather is a little bit wild right now, overcast. Luckily, it's not raining. What's the strategy going into top 16?
It's tough because there are multiple surface changes out here on the course, and especially in that far back sweep where you see a lot of cars, adjusting their angle and kind of, moving forward and back against the lead driver. And that's because it goes from pavement to concrete back to pavement. There's an off camber. There's so many different adjustments, and especially if we start to get that rain, that's basically what you saw happen with Osbo earlier. Is starting to fight that kind of loose condition, hit that concrete, and it pulled the car straight. So it is very difficult, and even some of the very best can struggle in that corner. So like I said, it looks like a very simple course, but it's much more technical, especially if that water comes down.
And are you happy with how the car is performing today?
Yeah, the car is working very, very well. It is the best setup I'd say we ever had in the car. It's working pretty flawlessly, and we're just really happy with the overall performance of the engine, getting some more drivability out of it, which is very, very necessary for, like I said, these changing conditions per corner.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Really appreciate the insight. Jared?
Thank you so much, Lorette. Great job, great stories. Thank you so much. I know you're feeling right at home being here in the Northeast, Lorette. She is from New Hampshire. So again, some great insight there. And Chris Forsberg, again, this is a new course. Again, 2003, Tony Angelo, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Ryan Turk, the Club Loose boys. Again, see you over at Sneaky Pete's tonight, kids. Right, the Knapp family. Well, we got a little lull in the action. There might be a little uproar over that D beating Jonathan Hurst. We'll find out. We'll take a short break, but guess what? One more battle left, and it's a doozy. Adam LZ versus another Northeast driver of Mike Power here at the Type S, the Gauntlet.
presented by AutoZone. We'll be right back.
Just throws a early transition.
Made in Japan. Breed.
Passionate about a life in racing? Circle track, drag racing, drifting, or monster jam. Find it all at the University of Northwestern Ohio.
If you want to get everything you need to know about Monster Jam, about motorsports, you got to go to UNOH.
It's been the best opportunity I've ever taken. I've gotten so many opportunities, so many different connections.
You build every basic skill that you need to be able to work in racing and get your foot in the door.
See where your future can take you with a high-performance motorsports degree from the University of Northwestern Ohio.
GT Radio. Experience ultra high performance.
Well, there has been a ripple and a cause and effect. With every action, there's a reaction. So Jonathan Hurst earlier goes off course. Jonathan Hurst goes off course against Joao Barrion. Hurst, again, in that Mr. Cool BMW, again, a fierce competitor, just too aggressive, overcooks it into outside zone 3. So what's going to happen here is, again, Joao Barrion, Jonathan Hurst, going outside zone 3. Hurst comes in too hot, gets into the dirt, and you see him just get disrupted, getting thrown off. It looked way more grand at that one angle than it did the other, but the repercussion of that was he debeated his tire. He straightened out, he comes back on course. The ruling of initially he's out because he debeated, the driving steward says, hey, guess what? That is an incorrect call. It was protested. It was protested, then it was an incorrect call because the debeating rule was implemented because of a lot of drivers running low tire pressure, and they debeat just on course, on normal asphalt, on course. That's not the case here. So Jonathan Hurst debeated. We are going to let them finish out the rest of the battle, the entirety of the battle, with Jonathan Hurst now leading run 2, Joao Barrion chasing him down. Obviously, with him going off course, straightening out, he's at a deficit. You know, he's gonna have essentially an incomplete, so Joao will have an advantage, but we are gonna finish out the course. So scratch that bye run we saw earlier with Joao Barrion. We will see Hurst and Joao Barrion finish out that battle. Again, Hurst with that deficit. Did I do a good job explaining it?
Oh yeah, that was, I have nothing to say.
Okay,
yeah,
appreciate it. All right, so this was to be our final battle. Adam LZ and Mike Power. And here we are looking at Adam LZ, who qualified 11th, versus Mike Power. So we've already seen the other RTR pilots of James Dean and Chelsea Denofa advance on. Are we going to see 3 RTR Ford Mustangs in the Royal Purple Top 16? Oh, got a restart here. Adam LZ will back it up. Mike Power in that Type S S15. He's from here in the Northeast, Port Gestation, New York. And Adam LZ, he's from the Northeast as well. He's from Woodbury, Connecticut originally. Now obviously residing in Florida. A big fan favorite, Adam LZ, in his RTR Ford Mustang Spec 5 FD. Adam LZ coming out of the chute. Seems like he's figuring out that car. He's currently, oh boy, again, qualifying 11th. Great initiation by Adam LZ. Coming to that second outside zone, that big 180-degree outside zone 2. Mike Power tries to dip it in, and that Type S does find a little bit of proximity, closer and closer, inching towards Adam LZ. And now Adam, big, nasty transition into that last outside zone. I'll tell you what, that RTR, he's making it look really good. He's feeling comfortable. It seems like he's, you know, again, from Long Beach to here, I got to tell you, he's looking strong.
Yeah, I would have to say this was probably the most exciting out of the 3 RTR vehicles as a lead run, because he's swinging it really hard side to side. He does fill the zones very well. And in the chase position, Mike Power doesn't get as close as he should, and he doesn't match the angle. Look at right here going outside zone 3. I actually thought he was going to go into the wall, and that's the type of lead run we have to see, because that's really exciting. And if that was a qualify run, the X factor would have been pretty high.
There you go. You took the words out of my mouth. Eggert said that yesterday. One of the elements that he said, you know, obviously snappy transitions, rate to angle, and one he said, look like you're going to ride off the car, but then you don't. And that's that nasty swing that Adam LZ had going to that last outside zone. Also, going from outside zone 2 past the inner clip, wheels were locked. Very reminiscent of what we saw earlier with Jonathan Castro. Set it and forget it.
No adjustments.
No corrections, no adjustments, no little nuances or twitches. So now Mike Power out front, this Type S S15. But now how is he going to chase him down? Comes into that first outside zone. Looks that. And here we go, Mike Power in the second outside zone. Adam LZ right there. Looks like got into a tussle with the wall, that front right corner, now coming into that second outside zone. And Adam LZ shoots in on the inside. And so, here we go on that final outside zone.
I think that was,
we lost
I don't know if that was contact, or we're going to have to go ahead and check that one more time, because there was a lot of smoke and there was a lot going on at the same time. But let's go ahead and check it out right here. A lot of angle by Adam LZ, kind of coming a little short going to the outside zone 2, but Power also,
Okay, so here it looked like Power almost checked up on the you know, we saw that contact.
Yeah,
this could be a Kazuya Dean Carney thing that we saw earlier.
There was a couple of contacts there leaving the outside zone 2 area, and there was a slowdown or possibly something going on with Mike Power in the lead position. Let's go ahead and check this out one more time.
Well, this is the first run. Yeah, this is when Adam led. So we saw, again, a great lead run. To your point, you were making the claim. This might be out of the 3 RTRs, the most aggressive and fluid
Yeah,
lead
it was
run.
really fluid because he would, went all the way to full angle when he was doing the transitions. And it looked like you said, he was going to go off the track, but he didn't and kept it with a lot of angle and high rate of angle. So we're going to have to look at these replays real closely to make a decision what happened at the end of outside zone 3.
All right, Robbie, I'll let you do that. Focus on the outcome here because, again, just different camera angles. They're taking a look, and on that second outside zone, you saw a little bit of contact from Adam into the side of Mike Power, but then at the end of the outside zone 3, it looked like Mike Power really checked up, and both of them shooting in on the inside of that front clip. Things got really interesting there.
Yeah, we had to look at replays where there was a tap here and there throughout outside zone 2 and wanted to see if that was making or disrupting Mike Power in the lead position. But it looks like the last tap was way before where Mike Power almost spun out. He looked like he over-rotated coming out of outside zone 2, and we wanted to double-check to make sure that that over-rotation was caused by the Chase's driver or not. Let's go ahead and check this out one more time. I know there was a couple of taps here and there, right there, maybe right there, but right there when he was leaving outside zone 2, it didn't look like there was any kind of contact from the Chase car, and Mike Power pretty much over-rotated and almost spun, and he saved himself and pretty much went on a smaller line, and Adam LZ just avoided that.
Yeah, that was a unfortunate turn of events, or not turn of events there for Mike Power. Let's slide him left for Adam LZ or right for Mike Power. 1 vote for LZ, 2 votes for LZ. Adam LZ unanimously gets the win. LZ will be going against Denofa in the top 16. So it's an RTR battle, the final battle in our Royal Purple top 16. Mike Power unfortunately knocked out. We do have 1/2 of a battle left, and there they are. So again, that Mr. Cool BMW, Jonathan Hurst against Joao Barillon. Anything to add?
Yeah, so earlier I would say Joao had to do his buy a run.
Yep.
Something happened to him in the car, I'm not sure. But that was just a buy a run, so that's a wash. We don't have to worry about, we're not going to think of that right now, because now we're going to think about just these two drivers going at it, because Joao's going to be giving chase now, and Hurst, he is on an incomplete in the chase position, so as a chase driver, he's going to have to throw down a 100% run and see how well Joao can hang.
This could go one more time. I mean, to be quite honest, you know, like you said, Joao on his buy run, that's null and void. So again, we saw that run, even though we had a mistake, we basically say, hey, you just need to run the course. It'll be all right. But if Jonathan Hurst has a great lead run and Joao makes a mistake, it's lead versus lead.
Exactly. So we're going to have to go back to replays.
Exactly.
That's a couple battles
a couple battles
away,
ago. Here we go, the Mr. Cool BMW, Jonathan Hurst, the pride of Paducah out front, Joao Barillon in that Monster Energy Corvette. Now chasing him down. Here comes Jonathan Hurst in that second outside zone. And both vehicles do get both rear tires on that, again, because of that DB. And look at that. So there's a small little correction. Is that enough to offset? I mean, we saw Jonathan Hurst go way off course. And here we go in that final outside zone. The Vitor Mr. Cool BMW. Again, a small little correction there by Joao Barillon. Does that kind of rival or offset? Again, an incomplete is an incomplete. Don't know if that's enough to offset, again, that big mistake by Jonathan Hurst.
I'm not sure. I just want to double check on the replay, but looking at this, Hurst laying down a good solid lead run. Looks like Barillon kind of gives him a little bit of space and doesn't run on the outside line, but keeps his proximity. And then right there was a little wobble leaving the outside zone too. But like you said, I don't think that's going to be big enough to make it equal to an incomplete. But you know, the whole rules that we have a rule book, of course, and within it we do have rules about the debeating. And what we went with earlier, because it wasn't on track, because the wording was because, you know, if it debeats on track, they'll be able to change tires and whatnot. But since he did go off course, we didn't give it to him at first. Right. But you know, after the protest and going over it and the discussion, since he was not lowering the air pressure to an extreme and also going off track and wasn't, how can I say it, happening on track, we had to do it one more time.
Let him rerun. So, and there they did, but the outcome's still the same. Joao Barillon gets the win, even after a little bit of controversy, as they say.
Yes.
Jonathan Hurst is knocked out. That Mr. Cool BMW, just too aggressive, debeats the tire, re-enters the picture with that deficit. Joao Barillon had that small mistake, that bobble in outside zone 2, but not enough to offset that major incomplete. So the bracket is full in our Royal Purple top 16. So we have a short break. We have a halftime. I'm going to head over to the podium where we got our K&N air filters. We're going to be wrapping out over there. And again, you can see Gucci versus Bakshis, Taguchi versus Olsen, Field versus Castro, Forsberg versus RCP, Ryan Turk versus Sorensen, Dean versus Reeder, Dylan Hughes versus Joao Barillon, and Denofa versus LZ for the final battle. It's all RTR here at the Crazy 8. That is E-Town, the purpose-built Drift Coliseum. Robbie, we'll see you back here. What time are we back on? 6:30, baby. That's right. 6:30 local time for our top 16 and our United States Air Force opening ceremonies.
Yeah, so I'm going to go back judging at the top 16, so I think Ryan's going to be in my position. So
you got to be back up here in the tower, though.
Yeah, I'll be in the
tower,
for sure.
Go grab a bite.
No, go get some pizza.
Go get some pizza. Grab a Rockstar. We'll be back here. Again, local time is currently 4:45, so keep that in mind. Local time, 4:45. We'll see you back here. 6:30 for round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, the Type S Gauntlet presented by AutoZone.